The last time I can feel that power in my head, beat of the drums rushing through my skin.
Leicester looking to defend their BBL Cup title against the London Lions.
Our title, and we're going to keep it that way.
That cup is coming home with us.
Oh, Soko with the two-handed hammer! Loving with the jam!
This is not just another game. This is when the likes of the brightest
Decker down the lane with the block!
Can you get the job done today?
Showtime.
Rob Paternostro and his Leicester Riders continue their perennial quest for honours. Today defending their BBL Cup title against the star-studded London Lions. It is bound to be a compelling chapter in what is fast developing into the league's big rivalry. And we got a packed house here in Birmingham for what promises to be another compelling chapter in the matchup between these two great sides. We've got an all-star BBL lineup to help get you set, including Drew Lasker, Mike Tuck, Kieran Achara. Good to see you all. And Drew, there's so much positivity right now surrounding British basketball. When you look around you on a day like this, you can see why.
Absolutely. The stands are packed. The ambiance feels good. It looks good. I am just excited for where British basketball is headed.
When you think about days like this, and we're seeing the players, Mike, behind us warming up on court, so much great talent we're going to enjoy watching play this afternoon. How important are showcases like this for growing the game in this country?
Yeah, I mean, this is the premier product that we're putting out to the masses so everyone can see it, and I think they've done a great job here today. The court looks good, the people are out in numbers, and we got two amazing teams about to go head-to-head. I'm excited.
They certainly are. It's fair to say these are the two powerhouses right now in the BBL, Kieran.
They are playing some great basketball. You know, you can't ask for a better stage. You talk about no other names. Well, this is a great place to start the BBL Cup final.
Now, you've had some major games in your career. The Olympics, of course, big finals. Talk us mere mortals, people like me, through what it's like to play on a stage like this, a day like this.
I love how you went easy on me about losing in all these cup finals to Drew Lasker. I knew exactly where you're going with it.
Sure.
So, but the reality is, this is what you want as a player. You want to be playing on the big stage. So there'll be players at home right now who will be wishing they were here right now. So when you get the opportunity, you have to go and try and deliver.
Mike, you've had your fair share of days like this as well. How do you channel the energy? Because that's something, I guess, it's difficult, and every player, I guess, approaches it slightly differently. It's a difficult thing to contend with, the pressure, the expectation on a day like this.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what team you are, there's obviously going to be more pressure on certain teams than other teams. But I think, you know, this is one of the first pieces of silver. Well, it is the first piece of silver you can win, and it helps break up the season. This is an exciting time. The BBL Cup, you know, you've been playing all these regular season games. You get to this point, all of a sudden we're on this big stage. You know, you get up for these games. It's easy to get pumped up for games like this.
Did you ever feel pressure in the big stage, days like this?
Yeah, absolutely, especially in my younger years. But as I gained experience, I knew how to channel that energy. And it's just a great day to be part of, because, you know, there's not many games where it's one and done and win and go home, and this is one of them.
We're staying with the theme of pressure for a moment. Rob Paternostro, and remember, of course, the Riders are the cup holders and treble winners. He's come into today's game in the build-up to it saying all the pressure is on London. Do you agree with him?
Absolutely. Earlier we caught up, and I said this is the first time in a long time that the Riders haven't been the favorite and come in as underdogs. And right now they're playing with house money. Everybody expects London to win. There's nothing for them to lose, but there's everything to gain.
That status as underdogs, unusual for the Riders. How are they going to channel that energy today, do you think?
Well, like I just mentioned, you go out there, you play loose, you play free. There's no reason for you to be uptight. And I think we're going to see that in the Leicester Riders here today.
And the Lions coming in as favourites, but that doesn't automatically mean, of course, you walk away with a trophy. We saw that a couple of times last season, didn't we? The Lions going into big finals as favourites, but it didn't play out for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this, you know, look, and anything can happen on the night, right? And like we said before, when you get to these finals, guys show up. You know, this is when big-time players show up, big-time situations, and guys will be motivated. Anything can happen on the night. The last time these two teams faced off, the Lions only won by 6 points, so we could have a great game on our hands here.
Well, there was no silverware for London last season, a treble for Leicester, and it all started right here in Birmingham with their cup win over Manchester.
It is the BBL Cup final as Leicester and Manchester go head-to-head. Steele driving in and finishing at the rim. For the turnaround ball away, off the glass.
He's looked extremely aggressive.
So you wanna be a
Floored by Gino Crandall. Leicester with all the momentum right now. Jackson tries hard, scores and one. Armstrong behind the back, Clark for another three. Danforth, second three of the game. Nelson Henry saves it, gets it away, and strikes it. Crandall at the free throw line, and he knocks down another shot. He's heating up. McKenzie has room. Strings another triple. And Crandall steps underneath. Crandall wins that battle. Are you not entertained? The Leicester Riders are the 2022 BBL Cup champions.
Perhaps the biggest difference for the Riders this afternoon is no Gino Crandall, back-to-back league MVP, sensational player. They're obviously missing him, Drew, but just how much are they missing him this year?
Well, we were vocal about how great Gino Crandall is, but he's even better than advertised. All you got to do is look at the transactions. Leicester Riders are going through their fourth player, trying to replace them and still trying to get it figured out. One heck of a player.
It's the way it went down as well, Kieran, because they thought they'd re-signed him for another year. They thought they'd locked him in, and then in the summer, the plan changed, which didn't give them a huge amount of time to prepare for life after Gino.
And I definitely feel for Leicester Riders. You know, they literally brought back their whole entire team, and then you lose your key piece, you know, the floor general at the very last second. So it has been rebuilding for a lot of the team, you know, working out those different dynamics. I think a lot of the big players have kind of, you know, Danny Nelson Henry, who really stepped up when Gino was there, has kind of tried to find himself again. So it has been tough, but at the same time, you've got Rob Paternoster there, holding the fort, ensuring that they're still a competitive squad.
Yeah, nothing that Rob Paternoster hasn't won in this league, and of course, in many cases, many times over. Let's take a look at how these two teams made it here this afternoon. The format changed, of course, going into the season in the Cup. No more group stages, no more two-legged semi-final ties, which means that both of these teams have only had to play 2 games to get here. In their first game of the tournament, London overcame Cheshire at home pretty comfortably. The Riders won through a home tie against the 2021 champs Newcastle, and in the other quarters, Bristol saw off last year's finalists Manchester, whilst the Gladiators won on the road in Sheffield, which means in the semis, well, they may have lost Gino, but Leicester still putting up the points this season, averaging 88.1 per game in all competitions, and it was a devastating opening quarter, Kieran, against Caledonia that saw them off.
Yeah, you know, the Caledonia Gladiators got into a lot of foul trouble, you know, with the aggression of Leicester Riders, and it was game over from then. Riders shot lights out.
For London, it was a tough semi-final for a couple of reasons. It was a really congested fixture list for them around Christmas, including the European games, and going up against Bristol, Mike, a team in great form.
Yeah, Bristol have been great this season, you know, beating all the odds, surprising a few people, especially within this panel right here, but they've been doing a great job. But yeah, London Lions able to maintain that win and advance to the next round.
I mentioned the European fixtures. Of course, London have a deeper roster than most teams, Drew, but with the extra fixtures they've got, I mean, it is a grind. You've been out on the road with them as well this season, haven't you?
Yeah, it's an absolute grind, but if anyone is equipped to handle that grind, it's the London Lions. They have all the resources, all the proper things in place for them to survive it. And just speaking of the grind, they're headed to Budapest tomorrow. So, but the thing that I am impressed about, I haven't heard anyone from the organization complain about that schedule.
Well, it's a beautiful city as well, Budapest, so I'm sure they'll enjoy it if they get to see any of it at all. Time to hear from both camps now. Let's hear from some of the big stars we're going to see on court and get their thoughts about the big game. it would help, of course, if we could actually hear what the players' thoughts are ahead of the final. We'll try and work that out. I want to get your perspective on the European situation, because this Lions side has been built to win it all domestically. That's very much their MO this season. Europe, of course, is their additional ambition, and they're contending pretty well so far, aren't they, this year?
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job within Europe, and those type of tournaments, it takes experience, right? It's not going to happen all at once, and we've seen them this second year running into it, and they've built on what they did last season. So step by step, they want to get there, and you know the winners of the Euro Cup go on to Euro League. So this is a club that has big ambitions. They want to make a name for themselves, not only in the BBL, not only in the Euro Cup, but then on the big stage.
All right, take two. We can hear from the players now ahead of the big game.
As defending champions, it would mean, cementing ourselves at the top of the BBL.
Being able to hold onto the cup is massive because it demonstrates that our team is a collective unit.
We won it last year, so to be able to repeat would be a historical event. I think it makes a statement straight away when you can defend the trophy.
It's a chance to get a chip, man.
We understand what's at stake. I got two great teams playing the final and hopefully come up on top.
It's like a step on our journey. We kind of set our goals at the start of the year that, we want to win everything that there is to win in England.
I think it's opportunity for growth within the Lions organisation, opportunity for growth for British basketball.
For me personally, I've won all the trophies in the BBL in history, but I've never been to this final.
You don't forget that. Even if it's just a cup final, we got guys from everywhere. It's something that you talk about, when you get together for 10 years from now or whatever.
That's what everyone wants to know.
It's going to be sweet, man. Those are the guys who have set the tone in the BBL, I think, for a while. To knock them off the top of the hill would mean a lot to the club and to the Lions.
They're a very good team as well. We have to respect them.
It's another opposition. Any other team I play, we're going to be focused. I'm going to be focused. So the win would be sweet just no matter who we play.
My boy, Gino Crandall, I got to shout out Gino. That's my guy from back at the crib. He's former Leicester. He shot me a text at one point when I got out here. So it's going to be sweet because I'm going to just talk crazy when we beat them. So it's going to be fun.
Obviously, London is a better team than they were last year.
Obviously, we know that London's a good ball club. A victory would definitely be sweeter than last year, just because I know a few of the guys, Luke Nelson, Josh Sharma, Obi Soko. It'd be nice to get one over on them and be able to talk about it next time I see them.
We can definitely beat them, and we're more than capable of doing so.
I think for the most part, I would prepare myself, pretty much the same way I prepare for any game.
Take a little nap, get a little pregame meal, just try to be mentally locked in.
I just do the normal things, to be honest. Just do whatever I feel to get my body right and get my mind right.
Knowing our opponent, just scouting, being locked in for the day.
We're going to try and do our thing as a team and try and come out on top on the day.
The key to the game for us is going to be making sure we play, our brand of basketball.
We got to move the ball, we got to play hard defense. I think we're the best defensive team in the league. So hang our hat on that.
As long as we do all of those things, I think it gives us a really, really good opportunity to kind of dominate.
We definitely need to further press punch.
Gets all the way to the rim.
Obviously, the name of the game is having the most points.
You got to go out there and play well. Obviously, you got to make shots and just play with a lot of energy. We're going to have patches that, maybe aren't the greatest, so keep going through the game. Think about the motivation. It's a final. Think about lifting that cup.
Interesting hearing Obi Soko talk about the Riders being top dog for a while. I'm sure Newcastle might have something to say about that, Drew. But how significant would a London win be today for the changing of the guard?
We need to get the producer to roll back those champagne celebrations. but no, he is right. It's been about the Riders over the last couple years, and although London has everything in place to be the top dog, in order to take over, you have to win. Riders won 3 last year, so Lions have to win if they want to take it over.
Ovi also talked about the wider context of British basketball, and there have been some critics of the setup with London, the salary cap going, suggesting it might not be a fair fight going forwards domestically. But the flip side of that, of course, is we get players like Sam Dekker, like Ovi, like Costa Koupos. That's only got to be good for the British game.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for the British game. If there's going to be a team that's going to be the flagship team that's flying the flag throughout Europe, it's the London Lions. They've got that big budget, and it creates this David versus Goliath type story. And we've seen, I've seen my Sheffield Sharks beat them this season. So it creates those kind of that parity and those storylines throughout the league. And ultimately, it's going to have a trickle-down effect on the whole league. The better that they do in Europe and internationally, the better our league looks.
More attention on it. All right, let's take a look at the team head-to-heads today. Kieran, Luke Nelson, we heard there, said the keys for the Lions to play their brand of basketball today. How would you describe London's brand of basketball?
Relentless. Defensively they are a relentless team. They pick up full court, make it really, really difficult. Very much similar to the women's squad. Defensive identity is their MO.
If we look at the head-to-head numbers there and try to paint Leicester's brand of basketball, offensively, first of all, success from downtown. They hit almost 40% from the three-point range. Defensively, London are conceding 70 per game, just over, the best in the BBL by some margin. That's going to be key today, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And London turned the ball over a lot as well, so Riders have to take advantage of that. In the last couple of games, they have gotten back in the game by getting out and running, and they have to do that tonight.
All right, next up, we're going to take a closer look at some of the key players that are going to be wowing us on court today. Going through their paces, as you'll see right now, they're getting set, keeping focus. And of course, they have just one thing on their mind. Welcome back to Birmingham. It's Cup Finals Day, a huge day in British basketball. And we've already seen London take the WBBL Cup in stunning fashion. Can the Lions men's side double down, or will the Riders stun the pace setters in the BBL right now? And it's worth pointing out, Mike Tuck, that the Leicester Riders are in the competition, in the running for all four contests as well. We're talking about London making a sweep, but Leicester will have something to say about that too.
Oh yeah, that definitely. London obviously coming in with the big name this year, and everybody's talking about them, but you can't forget about the Leicester Riders. They've been doing this. They've been here for the last 10 years, you know, and they're used to being in these situations. They've got a core group of guys that have been around forever, and they're used to being here. So they'll be calm, cool, collected. If not, the pressure's off for them. So this will be a good one for them.
No Gino, but a lot of returning faces from last year's treble-winning side, as we're seeing on the screen now. How key is that continuity, Kieran, in a league that is rife with flux?
I think it's the biggest advantage. You know, I look at Newcastle Eagles in the past, having a strong core group of players is what gives that consistency and allows you to get a head start at the start of the season. Well,
that strong core group of players is led by Patrick Whelan. He offers so much, shooting over 46% from three-point range, landed 54 from downtown and counting so far this season. Drew, how will the Lions look to keep that in check today?
Well, he is the head of the snake for the Leicester Riders. He was an MVP candidate last year, has taken his game to another level. You can't leave him open. You got to force him into tough shots, but you got to work on the defensive end as well.
You called him the emotional leader of the team when we watched him earlier this season. How so?
He is the guy that can rally the troops, and he's not really vocal, but he does it by leading by example. He keeps it calm. He keeps everybody poised.
Kimball McKenzie, a key supporting member of this Riders side in recent years, particularly their treble-winning side last season. Mike, he's now taking the opportunity to step up into the spotlight even more.
Yeah, he's a guy that can step up in any position. You know, he's come off the bench. He's started. He's been a role player, but he's hit big shots at the right moments for them. So Kimball, love Kimball. He's got a great game and just a good head on his shoulders. Good to see him out there for the Riders.
And we saw him a little bit earlier on wandering around, soaking up the atmosphere, big smile on his face. He's certainly cool, calm and collected. Zach Jackson, another with Patrick Whelan, who is lethal from three-point range. And another, Kieran, he's another clutch player, isn't he, that can step up at crucial moments in a game.
He's my X-Factor player for the Leicester Riders. I think he epitomises everything the Riders stand for. You know, humble guy, shoots the open shots, always takes good shots. You know, relentless defense as well. I think Zach Jackson has a big game tonight. That's what's going to be one of the big differences in this game.
Now, one of the standout players of the season has been Mark Loving. If we think Sam Decker may be the front runner for MVP, and more on Sam Decker in a bit, this guy isn't far off, is he? An even keel kind of player. You love his temperament, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, he's always even keeled, never gets too high, never gets too low, but it's just like if you're up against him, how do you guard this guy? Because he's got the ability to go by a slower, bigger defender, but he can shoot from outside, he can back down a smaller defender. His game goes on all facets.
And Drew, when he hits his slipstream, he can take a game out of reach or pull his team back into it single-handedly.
Yeah, we've seen that all year long. I love how he's taken his game up to another level, and I've been impressed of he's done it all off the dribble, and as you mentioned there, so calm, collected, poised while being at the top of everyone's scouting report.
Aaron Menz is 7'3". We suspect he might be a little bit bigger in his trainers. A team GB big, underline the big, and he's instrumental, Kieran, at both ends of the court.
Yeah, he finishes well at the basket. For me, right now, I've always said Leicester Riders are maybe been struggling in the paint a little bit. He brings an extra bit of size to this lineup. So, again, against a deep team like the London Lions and the strength and depth that they have, Menzies can play a pivotal role in that.
It is a heavyweight team then. This Leicester Riders, unsurprisingly, bringing here to Birmingham, as are the London Lions. We've talked up their roster, of course, which is, I think it's fair to say, the most stacked in the BBL right now. Talent everywhere you look, and they've been smart in terms of roster assembly, haven't they? Because they've got a lot of Team GB talent, homegrown talent, ex-NBA stars like Sam Decker and Costa Koufos, and crucially European vets as well, players that have been around the block in European competition. So it is very well constructed, this roster.
Very much so. I mean, you can close your eyes and choose five and you won't get it wrong. But everything that you mentioned about the resumes, there's no ego. And that's why they've been able to be so successful this season, in particular in Europe and domestically. And they make it easy for them to cheer for.
What are the biggest challenges when you've got a roster like this with so much depth? It's a good thing for a coach to have, obviously, but the problem is keeping everybody happy, keeping those mouths fed.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about that is that you're playing so many games. You know, you got your domestic games, you got your cup games, and then you got your European games. All these guys are playing, you know. Injuries have happened throughout this season where guys have had to sit down, and having the advantage of having that depth has really worked out for them.
All right, let's take a look at some of these players then in a little bit more detail, starting with Sam Decker. He is the hot favourite for league MVP. Kieran, the stage is set for him today, isn't it?
He's just a wow player. That's the only way I can describe him. Every game I watch him play, he just makes these spectacular plays, makes them look easy, gets back in defence, gives his teammates a high five, he's on to the next play. He is a player who is super efficient. It makes the game look easy.
You know what's interesting about Sam is that he seems so invested in the Lions, in British basketball. We saw him first game of the season live on Sky Sports, and he was really bringing up everyone around him, happy to chat to everybody, just a really positive presence in the game right now.
And you know what, as a player, you're always looking for these elite players to not be nice guys. He is a super nice guy, humble, gets on with his work, and like I said, is a great ambassador for our sport.
Certainly is. Jordan Taylor, added recently to this Lions roster, a seasoned vet. He's one of those guys that's played across Europe at the highest level. Drew, what's he added to this backcourt rotation?
Smart. He's a basketball savant, and who's benefited most from it is Costa Koufos. We've been vocal all year long that the London Lions need a true PG, and that is what Jordan Taylor is. He can spoon feed all of the bigs along with getting his own offense.
And he's got that winning mindset as well, like Decker, like Costa Koufos. He knows what it takes. He's seen it all. So that is such a valuable on and off the court presence, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, experience. That for me, he brings that experience. And like Drew said, he is that true point guard that they have been missing all season. And he's come in and had an immediate impact on this team. And he's making everybody else around him a lot better. But then at the same time, he's not scared to knock down big shots, and he's taken some big threes for them and knocked them down quite efficiently.
Okay, got to go to Aaron Best, because he is another one of Toronto's finest. So Mike Tuck, I've got to go to you to talk about him. You love to celebrate the fact he's such a versatile player, a gadget player, which is crucial to a roster like this.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife. You know, he's one of those guys that you can fit into any situation. You can put him in at just about any position, and he's going to make something work. But he plays on both ends of the floor, and I think that's why he gets so many minutes, and everybody likes him in London, because he's willing to do all the hard work and fit in where he can.
And of course, he's played with Coach Schmidt. They know each other very well. They won things in Canada together. So that's another key part, I'm sure, of this roster assembly they put together here in London. Luke Nelson, Team GB guard, a floor general, one of the high-profile Brits signed by the Lions. How does he keep things moving, Kieran, for London?
He keeps on moving. If you watch him off the ball, so when Luke Nelson's in the game, off the ball, always running, finding positions, he's really good. Like on the pick and roll opportunities, he makes the job easy for bigs. I've played with him as a teammate. I've even got dunks because of his passes. That's how good a passer Luke Nelson is.
I hope there's tape of that somewhere. Costa Koufos, we've mentioned him, 11 times already this broadcast. No surprise, because he is a former first-round NBA draft pick. 10 years he played in the NBA. And Kieran, he's so dexterous and nimble-footed for a big guy, isn't he?
It's great to see, but if you watch him off the ball, he's always getting the right movement. He knows how to space, and when he's around the basket, it's going in. Like he's just so calm. You know, we've talked about it so many times. The cool, calm, collect. Another player can finish around the rim with ease.
All right, then. Those are the players. What about the coaches? Drew caught up with them a little bit earlier on to find out their thoughts on the big game, starting with the Riders' Rob Paternostro.
Coach, congratulations on another final. Does this moment ever get old?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, last night couldn't sleep, struggled this morning as well. So, yeah, I'm excited for the guys. They deserve to be here. I really love the group I'm working with.
What can you tell us about the new guard, your fourth this season, Carrington Love?
Yeah, Carrington's just arrived. Looked good in the practice time that he had. We love his experience. We love his toughness. And, yeah, he could feature for us at some point today.
0-2 against the Lions this season. What did you take away?
Got to get off to a better start. You know, both times, poor starts, too many easy driving lanes for them. We got to do a better job on the defensive end. But to be honest, it's the offensive end where we have to be efficient, because when you miss those shots, they go out on a break and they're really tough to stop.
It's been a while since the Riders have been underdogs. Can you defend the title?
We're going to give it our best shot. You know, we got to go out there and really be aggressive today. You know, when you get to these finals, there's no tomorrow. You have to really go after it from the start. But like I said to my team before the game, I believe in these guys. I love seeing them. These guys have been in finals before, and they understand what it takes to get it done.
Good luck tonight, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Coach, your first chance at silverware in the BBL. What's the mood in the camp?
We're excited. Obviously, it's been a long season balancing, the Euro Cup and domestic. But again, I think it's a fun way to kind of break up the season. You get to play at the end of January, a chance to, for like you said, for some silverware, a chance to win a trophy as a group. And again, it's just been fun to kind of see the growth of this team from start to where we are now. And hopefully these guys can cap it off today.
And speaking of the balance, fantastic season domestically and in Europe. What's the ceiling for this team?
I think it's high. I think that you look at the very beginning of the season where we were trying to kind of just get everyone on the same page and build that cohesion and chemistry. And then kind of when we started doing that, we kind of had to battle the injury bug. But we're finally starting to get bodies back and healthy. But again, I think we're just kind of scratching the surface of where we could be, but we have to put it together, right? We're just right there. But now it's kind of those marginal things we got to get over, which hopefully we can do tonight.
And the Riders come in with consistency and experience. Is this your biggest challenge?
100%. I think again, you play in these finals where it's just a one game, win or go home. Throw out the records, throw out what happened previously, and to their credit, this is what they do. They've kind of been the standard of the league for a long time, along with Newcastle. And last year they won 3 of the 4 trophies. So we know we're going up against a team that's well versed in these situations, and we have a work cut out for us.
Finally, what would winning mean to you personally?
Be great. Obviously, this is a project that I'm excited about. I know it was going to be tough, but just kind of see where we're at so far this year. I think in order to kind of get a win right now, to kind of solidify just who we are as a team and an organization, would be huge.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck.
Rob Paternostro, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, well, he's won it all in his 15th season as head coach with the Leicester Riders, and look at all those titles that he's won. So, Drew, how valuable is that sheer depth of experience on a day like this?
It's crucial. The more you do something, the better you become at it. And in this environment in particular, there's so many emotions going on. There's so many things. You got to be able to balance that. And Rob there's no one more equipped than Rob to be able to settle these guys and let them know that the bigger picture is at stake.
In his interview, you mentioned Carrington Love. Of course, they've been desperately unlucky with injury since they've tried to replace Gino Crandall. He's been a last-minute addition, given special dispensation to suit up today. Do you think we'll see him? And what kind of situation is this throwing him into?
I guess from one perspective, it's been hard for London to scout. They don't know exactly what to expect, but it's tough. Learning all the plays, defense. You maybe have to see him in drips and drabs, find a way to try and get some momentum, because he is an experienced player, so who knows?
Could be fascinating to see how that particular story plays out. Now the teams are getting ready to get on to the court for their official introduction. So we'll hand back to Anne and Dan.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yes, we're only 7 or 8 minutes away from tip-off here in Birmingham for the BBL Cup final, and it is the game that people have been waiting to see. It is the team that have dominated the last few years against the team many are predicting will dominate the next few years. Is this the moment, the handing of the torch, or is there still life left in the Leicester Riders when it comes to winning trophies in the BBL?
Time will tell, Dan, and all that's been so far has been predictions. Remember last year, the investment came on board, the ambitions were high, but they finished the season trophyless. This year, they've re-recruited, they've re-evaluated the plan. Not only have they got in good human beings, good individuals, but a talent full of roster that ought to be feared. So time will tell, Dan. Experience over newness.
And the interesting one there, number 13 running out, Mieoni, in for the Lions. This is the first BBL. We're talking about Leicester's new signing. This is the first BBL game he's played. He obviously played a couple of European games before he got injured, and he's been now drafted back healthy, drafted into the lineup with Caboza out of it, and obviously his defensive ability is elite and could cause Leicester problems if Coach Schmidt feels he's able to contribute in this first game for him.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Mieoni, but what we have seen of him was spectacular, especially on the defensive end, and they're going to need him to neutralise guys such as Mark Lovin, Zach Jackson. But Coach Schmidt nailed it. He said, yes, we're getting form, but we've been hit with the injury bug, and they have. So it'll be encouraging for him to have a full roster here today.
And there is Love coming into the lineup for Leicester. Do you think he'll play? I mean, he's only been in the country a couple of days at that position. This is such a stage to throw him out on.
Yes, I do. I do think he'll feature, and I think it'll be much to do with how the game's going. Rob Paternoster's great at in-game management and adapting when needed to be. So if he feels it's appropriate, then of course he'll thrust Love in. Let's not remember, this isn't a rookie. This is a guy with European high-caliber level experience. So a guy like that you can throw him into the fire and him deliver.
Interesting to see as Rob Paternoster shakes hands and shares a joke by the looks of it with his opposite number. Well, this is Rob's 17th final. He is 11-5 in finals. He's won his last 7 finals. Only the great Kevin Cadle has a better record than that. He won 10 in a row. 7 finals in a row to win is crazy. That is an awful lot of experience on the sidelines. He's seen every possible scenario.
He has, and that's where I think that's the advantage of the Leicester Riders, having Rob Paternoster. You know, if we strip back the rosters and the talent, etc., if we go head-to-head to extremely talented coaches, may I add, but it's Rob Paternoster that tips that in his experience about being able to deliver on this centre stage.
But he will not have been up against a challenge like this for a long time. As we talk about, he's won 7 in a row. They were favourites in all of those as well. You have to go back to the point at which the shift from Newcastle to Leicester went in terms of the dominant team for the last time that Leicester went in an underdog. And even then, I don't think they're as big an underdog as they are against Ryan Schmidt and his team.
No, this will be a completely new, I think, going into the game for this for Rob Paternoster, but maybe that's something that will make him that little bit more sharper. I've commented on this before. Rob Paternoster's super strength is his meticulous approach to games, so if he feels like he is an underdog, I think the preparation has increased even more so.
Well, we're not far away from tip-off now. Let's go back to Nat.
All right, let's get the final thoughts from these three. Drew, give us a player on each side that you think will be the most instrumental to helping their team win today.
Right, well, we know the superstars, but in this environment, you need superstar role players. For the Lions, Tomlaz Zupcic at 6'10", a stretch 4, a mismatched nightmare. He's the Lions' best three-point shooter. We know he's going to get open shots. He's a little bit streaky, but if he can knock it down, it could be a long night for the Riders. For the Riders, Kimball McKenzie. While the Riders trying to figure out the Gino Crandell boy, he's just hitting in the leaves, just getting it done. And we seen him in this environment last year. Didn't feature much in the first half. He gets his number called in the second half. Bang, 2 threes late to seal the deal. Watch out for these two.
Okay, Mike, a matchup, the matchup you're most looking forward to seeing.
Obviously, for the London Lions, you've got Kostas Koufis, who's been having a great year, and he's a composed big man, an ultimate pro. And I think if you look on the other side, you've got Darian Nelson-Henry, but you've also got Aaron Menzies, who's 7'3". So I think that's a good matchup for the Leicester Riders. The only thing I'm worried about there is Menzies in foul trouble. He's got to make sure he stays out of foul trouble early, but he is a big player that with the height that can match against Kostas Koufis.
Kieran, your key to the game this afternoon.
You know, I think this season the Achilles heel for Leicester Riders has been their giving up too many points in the paint. London Lions love to score in the paint. They attack, get downhill. So I think in order for Leicester Riders to survive tonight, they're going to have to be able to get some stops inside the paint.
Terrific stuff, fellas. Thanks very much. We are almost set for game time. The first silverware of the BBL season is on the line, and it is 2 heavyweights slugging it out for the belt. Tip-off is coming next.
It all comes down to this. High energy, high drama.
Oh my goodness!
This is the BBL Cup final. Know our names.
Welcome back to Birmingham. The two teams making their way out onto court for today's BBL Cup final. The Leicester Riders and the London Lions. And this promises to be a classic game. Let's have a look at the starting five, starting with the defending champions, the Leicester Riders, and a big surprise, Aaron Menzies into the starting lineup. His first start, Darren Nelson-Henry, who started every game this season, coming off the bench.
It's a big surprise, but it's a big body. 7'3", Menzies with international experience. I'm sure he's being thrust into that starting five to neutralise Kufos down low.
Well, we'll have a look and see how effective it is. Bit more of a usual-looking lineup to this London Lions team. Taylor, Nelson in the backcourt, so much offense. That's been the thing that they've dominated Leicester in the opening stages of both their previous meetings.
So much offense, so much talent. Decker, Kufo, Zubcic, all with NBA experience. But is it defensively? Is that the unit that's going to get it done for the Lions?
Well, we are ready here in Birmingham. The ball is up and we're underway, and it is the London Lions, the heavy favourites for the trophy, and it's an offensive foul on Decker as he runs in to Jackson on the first play.
Well, you can never read too much into it, but it's certainly not a fluid start, is it, for the London Lions? And as you can see, it's just a collision of bodies there, and Zach Jackson goes down. A foul called.
Well, Mike Tucker's joined us in commentary as well. I'm sure Leicester won't be too disappointed to see Decker get a first foul in a few seconds.
Yeah, that's definitely, plays into Leicester's favor. Decker, obviously MVP candidate for the BBL. They're going to want to get him out of the game as much as possible.
Nelson trying to fight over the screen, leaves his hand in there on Whelan to commit his first foul, and that is something London are going to try and do, take away the shooting of Whelan and Jackson and Love. McKenzie from the elbow, that is his shot, but it does not drop.
This is a good start. McKenzie coming off that screen, curling for the jump shot, and you can see him make that time and time again.
Zubcic in the low block to the spin, misses, and Menzies with the rebound.
That's what Menzies inside his size could just be having that presence in there.
And McKenzie can't get the first points. We are stuck at 0-0 after a minute. Taylor dancing his way, throwing it up, and that doesn't drop either. He's able to get it back and lobbed in by Kufos.
Persistent there, the Lions got it done. As you can see, Menzies was out of position because he came over and contested that shot, which gave a lot more room in there for Kufos to hit that floater.
Nelson chasing Whelan, gets it to Menzies, knocked away, and that will be a Leicester ball with 7 on the shot clock.
Menzies already been involved in a lot. Screens and fouls and pick and rolls.
Jackson along the baseline gets Leicester's first score of the game.
Another one, Zach Jackson. Size is irrelevant to him. Zubcic is guarding him, who's 6'8", 6'9", but Zach Jackson takes it straight at the defender and uses his body to finish.
Here's Kufos. Looking to attack Menzies to the spin. Did he travel? Yes, he did. Good work from Menzies there defensively. That's what he's there for.
Yeah, and that's the matchup I talked about in the pregame here. Menzies doing a good job of just limiting Kufos on which direction he can go and not picking up a foul, which will be key.
And Menzies will understand the importance of his role here today as well, and he wouldn't want to disappoint his team in picking up those early fouls. So you can see him making an extra conscious effort to not do that.
Jackson's picked it up in an awkward spot. It's been knocked away, so he's allowed dribble it again. Decker had knocked it loose. Nice move from Jackson, not the finish though.
Everything but the finish. Zach Jackson has such a crafty way about him. His timing and his patience in and around the rim is impeccable.
Massive size mismatch here as Decker is backing down McKenzie. Good work again from Menzies. That'll be out of bounds for a London ball.
So far, so good for this Leicester Riders adaptation to their starting five. Menzies contesting, challenging. Doing a good job.
Definitely the biggest body that Koufos has probably seen in the BBL matching up.
Zubcic sneaking back door. McKenzie lost him, and he gave him a little shove in the back as well, so it'll be an and one.
That was just a mental breakdown there from Riders, and it's one of those ones here. Yes, they're the underdogs and they're against a stacked team, so they have to play a near perfect game here if they want any chance of winning this basketball game.
This is the shot. Decker with the rebound, rooms for the three. Doesn't go. Leicester dodged a bullet.
They did. It was a really casual offensive rebound, and it was like Decker had a casual jog out to the corner to then shoot that three.
McKenzie using his speed to get all the way to the ring.
What a take from Kimball McKenzie. The ability to use his speed and get downhill towards the basket. Great bucket from him.
Well, Decker just had a sighter from that spot, and this time he knocks it down.
And London Lions do a great job of just inbounding the ball quickly and pushing it. And what it did is it got Decker an open corner three because Riders weren't set up yet.
Well, and Decker must have got a piece of that. It fell a long way short. He's now down court, loses the ball, and Jackson comes up with it.
Lots of physical play with Sam Decker. They are not stepping back from him.
McKenzie at the elbow knocks it down.
Well, he's looked aggressive, Kimball McKenzie. You can tell he's made a mental decision here to take the game into his own hands. He's missed a couple early ones, but back-to-back baskets for him.
Zubcic down in the low block. Trying to squeeze through the 4 and the 5 and doing so effectively.
And that's where the typical mismatch usually is, just because Zubcic is so long. He's 6'9", but that long wingspan of his, he could play centre for pretty much anyone else in the league.
McKenzie into the key. Back out to Loving. Loving takes the 3 off the mark. Taylor calls for the screen. Taylor drives in, great pass. Oh, Koufos blows the layup, second attempt is good.
Taylor just so good in that pick and roll, as you can see. As soon as he comes up that screen, he attacks the 2 defenders, which gives his teammate an open look, and Koufos just has that size and mental capacity to stay with the play and tip it back.
Well, he apologised to his teammate because he cost him an assist. Aaron Best into the game for the first time for the Lions, guarding the ball. Essentially, Blake Bowman, who's come in for Leicester early on. McKenzie at the elbow knocks it down.
That's a second shot from the elbow. He loves that little mid-range area. Really, just a little bit of physicality to get Taylor off of him and knock it down.
Koufos back to Taylor. Taylor looking to get into the key. Broken up by Loving. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can.
Good anticipation there from Mark Loving to come across. They know that Koufos is the target man, so anticipation plays like that can have an opportunity to steal the ball.
Loving top of the key. Menzies trying to keep it alive. That's going to be a foul on Bowman on the rebound.
You see, Menzies is making a nuisance of himself. He was the one that tipped the ball off the backboard there to give Blake Bowman an opportunity to grab an offensive rebound.
Substitutions both ways. Washington and Nelson Henry coming in for Leicester, and Oni into the game for the first time for the Lions alongside Ovi Soko. Washington. It's down to Koufos with Nelson Henry on his back. Best, mid-range, knocks it down.
Aaron Best coming into the game, having an immediate impact. He loves that little follow-away jumper pull-up from the corner.
Whelan round the screen, gets to the elbow. Doesn't get it. There might have been a little nudge in the back there from Soko as Loving went for the rebound. Let's see what the signal is from the referee. It is 0 that's shown to the table. Might just see it down the bottom of the picture. potentially. Hard to tell from that angle. Kufos replacing Sharma.
Riders crashing the boards and they're going after every shot they're attacking. It's not a typical behaviour we'll see from this Riders team, but good intent so far.
Whelan taking it strong, and there's a foul. I think it's Sharma, and the referee's just double checking the number, and it is Josh Sharma's first foul.
Whelan doing a good job of attacking, and well, it was a soft one. I mean, there's a hand on there before, and there's contact. The actual contest itself looked good to me, but Sharma's just got to do a better job of moving his feet and getting into that position just that split second faster.
Fourth foul of the quarter on London, all on 4 different players.
Look at the referee setting the tone over here.
Whelan's normally an excellent free throw shooter, but I always think in this building, at that end of the floor, it's harder to shoot free throws. He makes both of those. Taylor. That's off the foot of Loving, so we'll add another couple of seconds to the shot clock.
Excellent that. Mike, Leicester Riders have got...
Shoot it, Mike. Ball came all the way over to Mike.
Ball just naturally gravitates toward me. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that?
Soko with the turnaround. Good timing of the rebound there for Bowman. Loving. The pressure from Oni. Nelson Henry's picked it up in an awkward spot. He needs some help. He has to toss it up to avoid the 5-second violation. Taylor at the top of the key knocks it down.
Taylor just doing a good job of getting right into the danger zone there of that Riders defense. And that pull-up jump shot, it's pretty solid to me.
Only gets his hands on that. He's so great at that. Whelan kicking to Loving. Loving challenged well by Sharma, but Nelson Henry cleans it up.
And that's what you want. You want players to attack your shot blockers. In that occasion, Sharma already on one foul, could have picked up another one there as he reached down, but it's Nelson Henry in the right position, right place, right time for the finish.
Only fires up the 3. That is short, and Bowman will keep it in play.
A rush shot there, and that would be an easy possession there for the Riders defense. And good news that Connor Washington's back. Of course, he's been out injured the last few weeks, been integrated back into the rotation.
Will that count? No, it won't. Foul on the floor as Whelan threw it in. No basket.
I like the mentality of Patrick Whelan at the moment. He's attacking, not settling for jump shot.
That's something we talked about with Whelan yesterday. Did a little interview on the BBL show, and Whelan having to learn how to keep the ball in his hands a lot more this season. Last season he was always off the ball on the weak side, a lot of kickouts, dribble drives. But this season he said really focusing in on learning how to come off ball screens more, create his own shots, and then also create for others.
Clear signal from the referee. He pointed to the floor before the shot even went in. But more worryingly for London, that was the second foul on Josh Sharma.
So why is that 2 shots and not one?
Team possession.
Team foul?
So the foul is on the floor. It's the team foul that they get the shot for. Well, we wondered whether Love would play or not, and he is on the court. Carrington Love making his debut 2 days after joining the club in the cup final. Let's see how long a leash he has. Not very would be my suspicion, unless he does something excellent. He's playing some good D there. Soko spinning back and cannot convert. Looks at the referee, no whistle coming his way. Bowman taking it hard, needs some help and ends up throws it away. Nice pass. Best. Will that count or is it an offensive foul? The referee's looking at each other. Haven't seen which way the foul's gone yet. Foul is on Connor Washington. Oh, he said 2 shots. It's got to be a basket good, surely.
That could have went either way because Connor Washington was there in slow motion. Yes, we can conclude that he had his position in there. It was one of those ones where I think the contact comes, the referee blows the whistle, and then they're like, which way does it go?
Right. They've a minute signaled 2 shots, but it did go in. So if it's a defensive foul, it should be 1. Yeah, they've changed that now. It is 1 shot. And he converts the 3-point play. Here is Love. Nelson Henry has Soko on his back. Trying to feed it to Adekoya, but call for the traveling violation first.
And we see Obi Soko there. The strength of him to maintain Nelson Henry and kind of keep him away from his sweet spot.
And that's something else we've got to monitor, the dynamic now of Nelson Henry. He's someone who's a 3-year starter. You know, how is that going to affect him now playing that slightly different role of coming into the game?
I honestly don't think it will. I think Nelson Henry is one of those guys that'd be like whatever works for the team.
No, I don't think he's going to have a problem with that, but how is his impact, you know, in terms of like you throw the ball down low to him, and we've seen over the last 3 years it's almost a guaranteed bucket at a 60% percentage shooting big man.
Nelson, tough shot. Oh, Luke Nelson for 3.
Nelson and Love drawing at each other there, but really impressed with Love's defensive intensity, but Nelson, the ability to rise above and knock it down.
Nelson Henry fakes it for 3. Love stumbling, turns it over. London in the open court. Oni kicks it back and stolen away by Jackson. Numbers here, Jackson goes it alone and Jackson scores.
Excellent body control from Zach Jackson. I thought he took a little bit too long. It was 3-on-1, but Zach Jackson wasn't quite in 5th gear. But what he was doing, he was just measuring up his defender. A nice finish from him.
Shot clock is off. London looking to add to their 5-point advantage to end this quarter. Only for 3, short. There's still time here for Leicester. Love's going to pull up for a deep 3. Oh, close. Well, that will do it for the end of the first quarter. And in the 2 previous meetings between these teams, London had a much bigger advantage after 10 minutes than they have here in Birmingham. Rob Paternostro will be happy with that, although his team still trail by 5. We'll have the second quarter when we return. Welcome back to Birmingham. We're ready to go for the second quarter. Leicester with the possession arrow. Adekoya. Something off the ball. Luke Nelson. Didn't see it myself. I don't know if you did.
No, I was watching the ball. You can see the visual frustration there from Luke Nelson.
Because it's his second personal foul. I'm assuming it was fighting over a screen again. It's into Love. Love attacks, gets all the way to the rim, not quite enough on the layup, but it comes to Adekoya. Jackson, he goes all the way trying to jam it over Soko, but he can't finish it.
Goodness me, what an attempt. Doesn't convert, but certainly sends a message to the defense that Zach Jackson is looking to be aggressive when attacking.
Well, that was a long way short. Decker thought he was fouled, the referee did not. Love for three, short.
Everything's short, and that's a characteristic of a player who hasn't quite got his legs yet, and literally only been in the country for a few days. And you can see that the play before, he makes an incredible move to the basket. Wasn't quite enough on the finger roll.
Decker in the far corner knocks down a three.
And that's a shot we've seen Decker knock down time and time again. You cannot give him too much space from beyond the three-point line.
He's a player you cannot allow him to catch the basketball. They have to make an adjustment there, and front guard Decker, he's going to continue to punish them.
Nelson Henry has Nelson on his back, and the defense with the help from Decker wins out. Soko barreling his way to the rim, draws the foul and will shoot two.
Power of Obi Soko. He's just a big, strong player, willing his way to the rim one way or another.
And they've missed him in recent weeks, especially when they've struggled to shoot the basketball. Obi Soko's one of those guys that can attack the rim, create for himself, and particularly excellent at getting to the free throw line because of the physicality he plays with.
His first point of the final. Needs to give his team a double-figure lead. Kufos will give him a breather. Leicester have seen 11 of the last 13 points go against them. They've got to find somewhere putting the ball in the basket here. Jackson off the glass.
And I think that's the option you've got to go with at the moment. Zach Jackson seems to be the one that's grabbing this game with a scruff of its neck and attacking relentlessly.
Nelson shovels it back to Kufos. Lovely assist from Luke Nelson, and Rob Paternoster is going to call a halt to proceedings. He calls a timeout with his Leicester Riders trailing by 18 points to 28.
And that's the effectiveness of Luke Nelson penetrating. He gets not only his own defender, but Nelson Henry to have to come over and help, and that's an wide open layup for Kufos to convert.
Yeah, and I think the Leicester Riders here, got to do a better job on that pick and roll defense. They're getting there late, not a lot of communication. Nelson Henry getting dragged in very deep by Nelson, and then quick dish pass, but no one's there to guard Kostas Koufos. So too many easy baskets there for the London Lions.
Well, at the offensive end of the floor as well, Leicester shooting just 35% from the floor, 0 of 4 from behind the arc. Those numbers have to go up if they're going to have a chance in this game.
Yeah, and obviously the Riders known as a three-point shooting team.
This was the one. This would have been the highlight of the final if we pulled this one off. Zach Jackson He's that guy that every now and then he will do this, and it almost takes you by surprise, even though you've seen him do it before.
Oh yeah, Zach Jackson's got plenty of gas in the tank. He's a guy who can get up there. What a season he's having, going from averaging 10 points last season to leading the team in scoring this year with just under 16.
And what you like about the mentality as well, you often get players that take a long time to settle into a game like this because of where it is and the fans, etc., the big occasion. But Zach Jackson showing absolutely no fear early on.
McKenzie trying to force one in there. Only with the transition 3, rebound Wheeler. Whelan. Whelan into the key, contested shot, falls short.
Not a great offense there. It was just one-on-one basketball, limited movement. They're going to have to do a better job of making this London Lions defense work because they are the longer, bigger team on the floor.
Nelson for 3 at the top, falls to Adekoya. Jackson, rebound Menzies, and he pops it in.
Every time Zach Jackson's attacking, good things are happening. This time doesn't even need to make the shot himself, but an active Menzies. It's another easy putback.
Zubcic gets to the free throw line, and Jackson with the rebound. Whelan all the way to the rim.
Great take there from Whelan. His first actual field goal of the night. Only knocked down 4 free throws before that, but ability to stay balanced after taking a knock there and finish off the basket. Whelan's a guy that the Riders really have to look through to score in this game.
Well, Leicester, having given up 7 of the first 9 in this quarter, have scored the last couple of baskets, which is why Coach Schmidt has called a timeout. Zubcic, as he was running back down court, was not moving very well. He's a bit slow into the huddle as well, as if he might have hurt himself in that last play with battling with Menzies.
Well, it's been a good response from the Riders, and I like the manner in which they're scoring the basketball. Yes, they do need to increase their 3-point makes. They're 0 for 4 at the moment, but that's not something you can just magic up. What you can do is you can aggressively attack the rim and make things happen, and that's what they've done through Zach Jackson. Whelan to add.
Well, 14 minutes gone in the final. His team trail by 6. A lot of fans in the building. And they will have enjoyed what they've seen so far. Taylor takes the shot and knocks it down.
Yeah, and he's just finding a way to exploit that space off that pick. Big pick from Kufos. Pull-up jump shot looking very reliable at the moment for Taylor.
McKenzie off the mark. Kufos with the hook. It's a good challenge, but an even better finish.
Yeah, you said it right there, Dan. Great finish from the big man. Took his time, got to his spot, easy right-hand hook.
Whelan sells the fake, takes the 3, halfway down and back out again.
Oh, that's as close as they come. That's good news, though, for Patrick Whelan. If you're missing close, there's only a matter of time before a player like that starts getting those good rolls.
Soko throwing it right to Jackson there. Hand up to apologise to his teammates. Whelan trying to feed Menzies, but picked up by Jackson and fouled by Cooper. Whoa! Whoa! Only Jackson went to the rim. Only wasn't going to let him get there and sort of pulled him down. What do the referees make of this?
Well, they're certainly going to have to take another look at it. The whistle went clearly, and that happened 1 or 2 seconds after, and even Miaoni is apologising now. Well, Paternoster not interested.
Well, he did. He tapped him in the end. Well, have a look, because there's a foul called there. He's taking it in, and Oni goes up with the challenge, but it's the way he doesn't let go of it like that. I think he might end up in trouble here, Oni. I think he might end up with something. Not quite sure what. They're having a discussion, and let's see what the outcome is. The original foul is on Kufos for the hold, and that's it, nothing else.
Wow. I'm surprised. I thought there was a excessive contact there after the whistle.
Coach Schmidt is taking him out of the game, which is probably not a bad option. Down low to Jackson. Trying to work his way past Decker, and Decker just took a little nibble at it. Gets called for the foul, and that is Decker's second personal foul.
All of a sudden we see a little bit of fire here coming from Jackson. I like this energy that he's bringing here through this second quarter, kind of leading from the front. Possession before, obviously, the hard foul, but before that he had chased down a hustle play and got an offensive rebound, and now taking it strong to the hole. Able to knock down the first free throw here, so you can see the scoring power of Zach Jackson start to emerge tonight.
You can just tell he's one of those players at the moment who's has another level of focus. He's certainly looking to throw the first punch. And even with his free throw shooting, he's not known to be a prolific free throw shooter. He's 68%, but on that one, makes it look easy.
He was a lot worse than that earlier in the season. That's been going up in recent weeks. There was a point where his three-point shooting percentage was higher than his free throw shooting percentage. That won't count for Soko. The foul is called on the floor.
Wasn't a lot for me. Zach Jackson doing a good job of staying to the scout. Don't let him come middle. Don't let him go right.
Lobbed into Kufos. Decker's going to take the three. Oh, what a shot from Sam Decker.
That is remarkable. Just one dribble into the defense and shoots over Mark Lovin, who's 6'7".
McKenzie gets past Taylor, gets all the way to the basket and lays it in.
Kimball McKenzie had a little break on the bench there, thrust back into this game, and he's starting where he left off. 8 points personal now for Kimball McKenzie.
Knocked away by McKenzie, but straight to Decker. And Decker's going to take another three. And Whelan with the rebound. Whelan kicks to McKenzie in the corner. Oh, that pass is stolen away. Decker on his own. And he will just drop it in for two.
Defensive prowess of these Lions here. They're not making anything easy. Hands out in the lanes, deflections, leading to easy offense down the other end.
Just wondering if Decker's moving a bit gingerly. He did appear in that foul to come up hobbling earlier, but carried on, but doesn't quite look to be moving as freely as he normally would.
Well, and he opted not to dunk the basketball as well, which would suggest that maybe he wasn't feeling particularly great at that moment in time.
Long two. Rims out anyway. Menzies with the rebound.
Great rebound from Menzies, who's plugging that big space inside.
It's a big screen from Menzies, and he frees up space for McKenzie.
Just looks so fluid, doesn't it? The play they work on in practice, a little screen or handoff play. Kimsel McKenzie, that's his sweet spot.
He is the first player from a Leicester perspective into double figures. Soko is fouled by Jackson and will go to the line for 2.
Looking to go to Soko inside because the mismatches are there, and Soko's so strong when he attacks the rim. This time gets Zach Jackson to commit the foul. This is his first personal foul.
Well, Leicester have done an excellent job in the first half, of spreading the fouls. They've committed 7 fouls, but it's been 7 different players. So nobody in any sort of foul trouble. London, by the other token, have 8 fouls, but have 2 guys on 2.
It's always been a Leicester Riders mantra of, don't foul originally. it's the message. If you're going to foul, make sure you foul intelligently, and Riders are certainly doing that thus far in this game.
McKenzie driving in strong contact. He'll shoot 2.
Brilliant coming off that screen and roll. Again, just looking to be aggressive. Taylor having to commit the foul. Very nearly easier. And 1.
It's interesting with McKenzie. I heard an interview with him earlier the year where he was talking about how before he'd come to Leicester, he was more of a scorer because of the, he was playing on a team that wasn't as good as Leicester. And then when he came here, he had to find a niche or a role. But that scoring mentality is still within you, and we're just seeing a bit more of it in recent weeks when his number's been called.
And I think that's what you bring back players as well. Returning players can be so pivotal sometimes because they feel more comfortable in a structure. And Kimball McKenzie has been so much more prolific offensively this year than he was last year. But you're right, Dan. This is the guy that averaged 17 points a game at Bucknell. That's incredibly difficult to do, Division 1 NCAA.
Decker did well to avoid a foul there. He could have easily stepped into that by mistake. Jackson can't finish.
And then who's close inside, just disrupting everything.
Soko airballs the 3. I don't know if Loving got a piece of it. It was a long way short. Whelan turns the corner, drops it off to Loving. He's bummed. It just won't drop from Loving. He'll have to shoot 2.
Well, he left his feet, didn't he? And he was fading away from the basket. I think that bump took his trajectory away from the basket. Good penetration again from Patrick Whelan, and yeah, that bump just took him away from the basket. It makes that shot that little bit more difficult.
And he's the 4th London player to get to 2 fouls here in the first half. And 2 fouls, what difference does it make? But 1 foul here before the half-time and 1 just after half-time, and suddenly your whole second half has disappeared in front of you. Loving goes 1 for 2, so the gap is 9. There's probably an offense each left in this first half. Decker from the elbow misses everything. That's 2 very short shots from London in a row. Whelan across to McKenzie. Into Nelson Henry. Nelson Henry gets himself in a bit of a tight situation. Whelan helps him out. And Kufos is going to be the latest London player to 2 fouls, and London over the limit, so it'll be another 2 free throws.
Not a great foul as well. Way too aggressive there coming, defending that screen. You can see the frustrations of Kufos. As a few times now he's bellowed at his teammates. But I like the aggressive nature of the Riders. They're not by any means in any type of flow offensively. 16 points in the first quarter for them, and they're on 12 now, so it hasn't been 14 now, excuse me. It hasn't been their most productive offensive day.
They'd given the ball to Whelan, and Coach Schmidt had asked for a timeout, but once the ball's been given, he has to shoot the shots. So the timeout will come after the shots. 5 of 5 from the free throw line for Whelan. Chance to cut it to 7. And then see what Coach Schmidt can draw up for the final play. Now he can have his timeout. And this will be about trying to get one last score, and I'm sure psychologically, from Leicester's point of view, one defensive stop here, 7 doesn't feel too bad. London make a 3. Psychologically, you're in a different group of 10s, all those sort of things. It looks a long way back.
And you've got a long time to think about that as well, that 15-minute break period at half-time. So you're right, Dan, you always want to finish the half with the best momentum possible, because that has a way of then converting into your performance in the second half. But I think Wiley's done a relatively good job here of weathering the storm. They've had a couple of runs here from this London Lions team where you think, uh-oh, here it comes. The knockout blow's coming, but the Riders have found a way to stick in there and stick around. And a 7-point game was certainly better than anything in double-digit deficit.
Well, the advantage of having multiple assistant coaches is while you're doing the timeout, you can get one of them to have a chat with the referee about fouls. Robert Youngblood knows a thing or two about fouls, to be fair.
Oh, he does indeed. He saved a couple for me. It was earlier in my career and later in his, so he was a little bit more plentiful with those fouls.
He was higher up the fouls per game averages than most, put it that way. What a player in his day. Super team that the Leopards had. Amongst many other stops he had in the BBL. He did travel about, now with London as an assistant coach. He's tailored to the spin and the shot, and he knocks it down without really any time for Leicester to do anything about it. Loving will heave it, but it was after the buzzer. So we will go into the locker rooms with London leading Leicester by 9 at the half. And the feel of the game, that seems to be about the right sort of margin, doesn't it?
I think so. I think London Lions have taken more control, and as a result, they're up, and Riders have had to chase it here in times. But look, this is the game of peaks and troughs, and it hasn't been a major peak or a major trough from either team, so we're still within a 9-point game here.
Well, Leicester will need that 44% to go up because they've been attacking the basket. That's how they've got to the free throw line for 12 free throw attempts. And they don't take too many bad three-point shots. The fact they've only attempted 5 in the first half is testament to London's defense.
I think so. The scout has been followed by the London Lions. The aggressive nature as well, to deny the pass. I think they've done a really good job of that. But Riders have not converted any three-point so far, and London's Lions defense is a result of that.
Let's get some halftime reaction. Jordan Taylor is with Mike.
JT, a 9-point lead going into the second half. Are you happy with your performance early doors here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're up, so you got to be happy with that. That's a tough team. We got to do a little bit better on the ball screens. McKenzie's he's a really good player, man, so we got to do a little bit better job at taking him out of his comfort zone. I think that disrupts them, and I think we'll be good in the second half doing that.
What kind of tone did you guys want to set coming into this game?
It's a cup, man. It's for a championship, so it doesn't matter, talent, whatever it is. Everybody wants to win. Everybody's going to play hard. We want to be the aggressor, be physical. Obviously, Sam got an offensive foul first play of the game, but we knew it was going to be a game like that. So just trying to be the aggressor and stay poised, stay calm.
You guys certainly were the aggressors. And what sort of things do you think Coach Schmidt will want to adjust heading into this second half?
I think offensively play with a little bit more pace. You see my voice just crack because I'm, offensively play with a little bit more pace. And then defensively just keep up the aggression, like I said, on McKenzie and try and disrupt their sets and all that. But other than that, I think we're in a good spot. Up 9 in a cup game against a good team is where you want to be, and we just got to stick to our little things and we'll be all right.
Yeah, and your first cup game, your first kind of silverware game in the BBL, in the London Lions jersey. Talk about the atmosphere here and what it's like.
Man, it's cool. I've played in some cups around the world, France and stuff like that, but to have all these fans, especially in London, growing up, you don't hear about basketball a lot in England, in the UK, so to have this kind of turnout, and it's kind of like the States, I think I slipped on one. He got a jumper. I heard the woo. So it's like, it's fun, man, going both ways. It's competitive, and that's what you play for real.
JT, thanks for your time. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Well, he was talking about the Lions needing to play with a bit more pace. That may be the case, but they are comfortably ahead of the half. It's a 9-point lead against the reigning Cup champs. Can Leicester get back into it? How will they do that? Reaction and analysis coming next. Half-time entertainment here in Birmingham, courtesy of Notes. He's entertaining the crowd. They're enjoying that, as they very much have the first half of the men's BBL Cup final, the first silverware of the season on the line. And London looking to double down after the WBBL team won a little bit earlier on today. Solid performance from the Lions in the first half. And I think in particular, Kieran, defensively, because we talked about the challenges that they were going to face offensively from this Riders side. They like to put up points coming in, but they've handled them pretty capably, haven't they?
They've done a great job, they've really ramped it up. But that's been their identity all season. They've just found a way to continue to stick with that defensive intensity.
The Riders struggling offensively, Drew. Just 4 assists in the first half. Why haven't they been able to find their typical flow?
Because they're forced to get things off the dribble, because the shot clock's running low, because London Lions defense, they're locked in. They're forcing the Riders deeper into their sets, and then they're trying to create something one-on-one.
Let's take a look at how the first half played out, the key highlights from it. The Riders took the game early to London. They had that intensity. Kimball McKenzie, as we predicted, well, to be precise, as Drew Lasker predicted, right in the thick of it. But London finding those points in the paint, that was something that Kieran Achara suggested Leicester needed to keep in check. Costa Koufos, the main beneficiary there, going toe-to-toe, but it's a 9-point advantage for Coach Schmidt's men at the half. Let's talk about, as we look at the numbers, some of the key things that jump out, most notably when you consider, Kieran, how prolific the Riders have been all season long from the three-point range. 0 of 5. So that tells you that the London defensive game plan is going to script.
And you know, from a Coach Schmidt perspective, that's what you want to see. That's executed to a T. They've made them do one extra thing, shot, fake and drive, because they're not allowing them to get any open shots.
What about the Leicester defensive game plan? Because I mentioned there we saw Costa Koufos getting some points in the paint. That has been a weakness, an Achilles heel for Leicester for much of the season. Key part, as you pointed out, your key to the game for London, but they've handled it defensively, Leicester, pretty well.
They've done a really good job, and tip of the hat to Drew Lasker, talking about Menzies getting put in the mix. He started the game on Koufos, made it a little bit more difficult, protecting that paint. They've done a really good job of making sure that nothing is easy inside, and I think that's all you can ask from a Riders perspective, make nothing easy inside.
All right, let's look key in a little bit more on some of the Lions offense first of all, and Sam Decker, as we said at the top, MVP front runner, didn't start particularly strongly, but Drew really warmed up, particularly from downtown.
Yeah, credit to the Riders defense. They allowed him some open looks, allowed him to get his confidence, and this is a guy that's a first-round NBA draft pick, so when you look at the landscape, there ain't nobody in red that can guard him. The only person in this arena that can guard him is that bum ankle that he turned there a little bit earlier.
What have you made of his first half performance, Kieran?
You know what? He's been limping half the time and still dropping points, but what I think Riders have done a good job of is, okay, he's made a couple open shots, but there's nothing easy for him inside. Decker, when he gets downhill and gets to the rim and starts getting easy looks around there, that's when he's scoring 20, 30 plus points. They've kind of composed, and he's an efficient shooter, but it's been tougher shots outside.
11 points and counting, so he's on course for that if he keeps the pace up. Costa Koufos, as we've already said, filling his boots as well. Well, having some success, particularly for the pick and roll. That worked for London effectively in the first half. What have you made of his contribution, Drew?
Well, the untrained eye wouldn't be able to see, but Kieran and I was talking there. The timing of his cuts, the little thing, you see there, he delays it. He receives that little shovel pass there. And as the season has progressed, he's beginning to get his legs. He's beginning to get his touch. We have to remember, he sat out a year last year, and we're beginning to see the best version of Costa.
Because it's interesting when you look at a player like that, he's got NBA experience, over a decade playing at the highest level in the world, but it takes time to acclimatise to a new league, to a new team, to a new game plan.
And that's a lot, for me, I'm in awe of his movement. I'm watching him getting deep seals. Earlier on, he got a good deep seal in Menzies. He's cutting, his timing, everything's spot on. At the start, he was maybe missing a couple of those easy bunnies. Started off strong, but finished weaker because it didn't have the legs in him. Now he's getting back to full fitness, and he's a scary player to watch.
Speaking of being in awe, I'm in awe of both of you because you both picked an X Factor, and they both come up trumps so far. Let's start with yours, Kieran. Zach Jackson. I mean, we talked at the top about his intensity. He seems to be the catalyst for all the good stuff that Leicester have had going offensively.
And I just love how aggressive he's been. He plays great defense, as I mentioned at the top. He turns defense into quick offense here. Just going right at the player, staying composed, finishing at the rim. Here on a Sam Decker. Look at the attack downhill. Nothing's phasing him. So it's a great start. Like I said, he's playing with confidence, but he's been here before.
He's a fearless player, isn't he? Kimball McKenzie was your X Factor, Drew, and you nailed that as well, because alongside Zach Jackson, he has been the standout player offensively, got off to a really hot start.
Yeah, he came out really aggressive. This is a guy that has embraced the role of being a sixth man, but hasn't accepted it. Had a great year so far. We have to remember, he's averaged 17 points in college, so he does have this all in his game. You see an array of mid-range shots that he's getting in the London Lions paint, and he's finishing with touch. It's a smart play right there as he rises up over the defense, having a great pick. He's picking up where he left off in last year's Cup final.
Right. Now, let's join a few dots. Leicester capably performing defensively, but offense, they've got to get some stuff moving. So what's Coach Paternoster going to look to change? What's he telling his team right now?
Play with pace. If you watch the two games in the regular season, how they were able to claw their way back in the game is on those live turnovers that we know London Lions are going to have. They got to get out and run and create some easy baskets for themselves.
And that was interesting hearing Jordan Taylor's interview at halftime with Mike. He was saying the Lions need to add more pace to their offense in the second half.
And I think Lions create their pace through their defense. So they're trying to make Leicester Riders take bad shots so they can get out and run. Leicester have not been taking many bad shots, so that's why the balance has been skewed. It's a real defensive focus at this moment in time.
All right, this is a 9-point ball game. I think it's fair to say it is still wide open when you consider the team behind are the Leicester Riders, the reigning Cup champions, heavyweights across the court. They are not going to go down without a fight. A compelling second half from Birmingham coming your way.
Welcome back to Birmingham. It's full here in the Utilita Arena in the city centre, and it is those who've come up from London who will be slightly happier at half-time because the Lions lead the Riders by 9. Well, Nelson's got room for 3. Couldn't take advantage.
How many times have we seen Luke Nelson sprint off that curl screen and knock down the 3?
Whelan going hard to the rim again, and Patrick Whelan laying it in.
I think he's done an excellent job of that in the first 20 minutes of play. He's attacked the rim, he hasn't set up for jump shots, and he has 10 points personal now.
Second Leicester player into double figures. That ball just got over Loving's hand, and Decker was open, and Decker knocks down his 4th three-pointer of the game.
If you gamble off Decker, you have to intercept the basketball. If you don't, that's the result what happens. Sam Decker, yet another open 3 today.
Here's Whelan again, dropping it off to Menzies this time, and Kufos called for what is his 3rd foul.
Patrick Whelan again doing an excellent job. When he's getting in that danger zone, he commits, and Kufos, he attacks him, and Menzies again gets that space because Kufos is out of position.
Back on the board, it seems to have been given to Zubcic, which is a definite bonus for London because it's only his first. Decker for another 3. Not this time. That's been corrected on the board. That did go against Kufos, and it is his 3rd personal foul.
Decker gets another open 3. I wouldn't want to play that game if I was the Leicester Riders.
Moving screen. Just gave his little... stuck his hip out a bit there, I think. Menzies chasing the contact with Nelson. Just a slight lean, isn't it?
I think it was enough, and that's more than anything. That's been a more vigilant call this year from the referee, so anyone who's setting the screen has to be that little bit more cautious and knowing that they must be set before.
Stolen away by Jackson. Whelan in the corner for 3. He hasn't had many looks, but when he finally gets one, he knocks it down.
Well, he finally got that look down, and he said, thank you very much for my opportunity. I'm going to make the most of it. Used all of that rim to get it to go.
First three-pointer of the game for one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Taylor trying to get those points back. Decker trying to keep it alive. Jackson able to come up with it. Whelan cross-court to McKenzie. Fakes the 3, takes the 2. And Nelson with the rebound.
McKenzie was so aggressive at the start of this game that every single pump fake is working for him.
Menzies making it tough, but Kufos with the score. Drew Lasker's in commentary with us now. That is just good offense beating good defense.
Yeah, exactly. As we say in the streets, that's better. Oh, there would cost a jump hook over the 7-3 center there.
Nice hands to break up that pass, and Kufos comes up with the loose ball. There's a foul in there on McKenzie, and he is the first Leicester player to get to 2 fouls.
Like after the screen there, McKenzie sort of tried to throw it up high to McKenzie, and that could be a thing as well. Just got 2 guys not playing as much together. Of course, Menzies, one of the later additions to the Riders, and Kimball McKenzie forcing his way into that starting 5.
Nelson into Kufos, and that is short.
And we talked about it there at the half. Leicester Riders needing to play with pace on live turnovers or on missed shots, because the London Lions aren't going to miss many. You need to push so you can get easier looks than that.
Loving doesn't get a friendly bounce, but he does get his hand to the pass.
The activity there for Mark Loving, and that's the one guy you'd want to join the party now. He's on 1 point to Arsenal. We've seen his talents this year, gifted offensively, scores the ball in a variety of ways, and the Leicester Riders are going to need him to contribute here to the offensive load in the second half.
And you're exactly right. This is a guy that scored 0 during the playoff final, so I'm expecting him to remember that and come in here wanting to prove that he is one of those players when the lights are the brightest.
Decker unable to make the little fall away. McKenzie kicks it out. Jackson for 3. It's a good challenge from Decker in the end.
Fantastic defense there by the London Lions. Excellent closeout by Sam Decker.
Nelson with that little fall away that he hits so regularly.
He's so good at that. It looks unorthodox because he sort of slides sideways. Yeah. Look at the fadeaway. It's a side drift, and he's just so comfortable at shooting that.
Foul called on Darian Nelson-Henry.
And then speaking of Luke Nelson, he gets it done on the other end as well, fighting through that screen.
It's an awful call, by the way. Awful. Still there was the player, defender player, who used him as sort of a cornerstone to get around there.
Well, there's somebody who agrees with you, by the way. Yeah. There was a warning out there as well. I don't know if it was the players or the coach. I think it was the players warning there. Nelson driving hard, and Darian Nelson-Henry gets called for 2. No, in fact, number 4 is shown to the table, which is Mark Loving's number.
And that is the right call. Nelson-Henry with the verticality there, hand straight up, even if there is contact, that isn't a foul, but it's Loving that swipes down from behind, which sends Luke Nelson to the line for 2, where he knocks down the first.
London now with their biggest lead of the game at 12. That's going to go against Loving as well. That's his 3rd.
That looked a little bit more illegal to me. Mark Loving just focus they sort of turned into it. Those are the ones that have been called all season, so you can't be surprised that they're being blown at the BBL Cup final. Must stay stationary.
And it was the turn of the body, turning his shoulders there into the defense.
Nelson. Shot is short. Rebound Loving. Loving taking it all the way to the rim. A slap down from Zubcic will send him to the line.
And that's what the Leicester Riders need right there. Mark Loving, one of their top scorers, out in transition, in aggressive attack mode, putting the defense on their heels, getting to the line to where, you know, Ant, when you're struggling, get some few layups, get a few free throws, and then all of a sudden that basket begins to open up and that confidence begins to rise.
Decker sits down, replaced by Oni. Leicester making a change as well, with Connor Washington returning and Kimball McKenzie sitting down.
And Sam Decker here on the sideline, testing out that ankle that he sprained there in the first half, stepped on a foot, and be interesting to see what his status is for the rest of the game here.
Obviously they're in Montenegro on Tuesday. A relentless schedule for London. Oh, West. Lane sort of opened up for him. I think he was like looking to pass, and in the end he was like, oh, I'll have an easy 2. So.
Well, he let his best mate, his left hand, take care of business there as soon as he gets it. That space to shoot that shot. That's all she wrote.
Loving attacking hard again, and Zubcic trying to avoid the foul, but can't stop him from scoring.
And like I said, all it takes is a couple of free throws and then your confidence begin to build. But it's the mentality that Mark Levin has to display here in the second half of being aggressive.
Nelson aggressive as well, going to the rim for another 2. London trying to shut the door on Leicester here in the third quarter. Washington looking for Nelson Henry, and it's come off a London player for Leicester possession.
And we talk about Luke Nelson's offense, but just that possession there, his on-ball defense there on Connor Washington was fantastic. He knows the scouting report. You don't give him any room. If anything, you send him downhill. Just well executed there by Luke Nelson.
Washington late in the shot clock. Does he see it? Didn't get it off in time. Oh, did he? Oh, maybe he did. It's been given.
And that's the guy who'd wanted the ball in his hands. The guy that's been here more than anyone else in this building, Connor Washington, knocking down that big shot.
Well, they weren't protesting it, London. Maybe he did get it away in time. Only Sissoko misses.
Good defensive stop there by the Riders. See if they can get something here in this transition situation.
Loving has it stolen away. Soko will run it back and drop it in for 2. And Rob Paternostro is going to call a timeout here with 3.5 minutes to go. This steal from Soko has put them back up 13.
Look at that. Soko and Oni just pestering the Riders' offense there, and that's what they've missed from Obi Soko, that toughness on both ends of the floor, and he's delivered so far today.
Looking pumped in that timeout, aren't they, the London Lions players? Coach Smith focuses on the tactics here. Leicester need to find some way in the next 3.5 minutes of getting this back down to single figures.
Yeah, and you see the Lions there in that huddle because they know that they got the Leicester Riders wobbling. This is a chance to throw out the knockout punch going into the fourth quarter. But I've watched the Lions closely all year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they came out in a 2-3 zone. We've seen it a couple of times this year as the Riders are drawing something up to get their offensive going. So always interesting to see the coaching battle. Two great coaches going head-to-head with one another in this great spectacle.
Really important here now for the Riders to move the basketball. When they move the basketball, they get better looks. You know, they're still not prolifically shooting from the three-point line. They've only scored 1 so far this game. They're 1 for 7. And the best way to do that is to move the basketball. They have to get this Lions defense shifted. It's a lot of one-on-ones at the moment. They're relying on the individual talents of the Riders, which to a degree has kept them in the ball game, but they need to get open looks. It's the best three-point shooting team in the league, and they're not able to utilize their strength because they're not getting enough shots off.
Pressure up court on Leicester, by London. Leicester trying to get it in. They just avoid the 5-second violation and a turnover. And they get into the half court. Adekoya knocked away. I think it came off his leg. It did. Great defense from Oni.
And just to piggyback off your point, and that's why the Leicester Riders aren't getting open shots. You've seen that inbound play there and the stifling defense on the ball here by Oni, who forces the turnover there by Adekoya.
Incredible intensity from the Lions out of that timeout. They were the team that punched first.
Locked up to Sharma. He couldn't quite catch the alley-oop.
Wow, that would have been spectacular had he pulled that off. We've seen those spectacular alley-oops this year when Sharma's involved.
Absolutely.
Washington turns the corner. Jackson in the corner for 3, knocks it down.
And how good has Zach Jackson been here tonight as he hits the wide open corner 3? An area in his game that he's gotten better at this year. One of the best three-point shooters in our league. Doesn't take many, but he takes the right shot, and usually it's a bucket.
Late in the shot clock for London. Nelson Henry bails them out with a foul.
Well, Panos should be really frustrated that one. Bad foul that late in the shot clock. Way too aggressive there, hedging off that screen.
He took a bad angle there. He had his chest in front. You usually want to force them out. And to make matters worse, he sends Taylor to the line as it looks like the Riders are in the Lions, are in the bonus.
They are. It's over the limit for Leicester for this quarter. So 2 free throws to Taylor. I think he was worried about the lob to Sharma in that pick and roll. Again, clock recognition. All the little things that add up.
Well, in that case, Dan, that's where you got to use your hands. You know, Nelson Henry's, nearly 7-footer. And once he sees Taylor winding up, you get those 2 high hands to force that ball a little bit higher than usual.
Taylor makes the second 11-point lead for London. Washington harassed by Oni. Down low to Nelson Henry. It's a clean block. I thought that was on the way down.
Wow. Sharma came across there out of nowhere and just swatted that away.
Offensive foul by Soko trying to post up Washington. Many have tried, few have succeeded with that, by the way.
Connor's one of those dudes it's not a mismatch just because he's shorter than you.
Let's have another look at it. Maybe it is. Maybe.
Man, that's tough.
I thought in real time it was on the way down because he got high and it was almost not much of an arc on it.
Well, if the referees are going by past performances, they've seen Sharma do that time and time again.
Well, Love back into the game. First time in the second half, getting himself to the rim. Can't quite get the points. Nelson Henry trying to keep it alive, but Sharma wins the battle.
He's made some really positive moves towards the rim, Love, which is a good prequel of things to come, but he just hasn't had that finish from him so far today.
Yeah, haven't has his legs. He hadn't played this season, and we know you've been thrown into a cup final, and we've seen him slip and fall there a little bit earlier, just have jello legs, but you can tell the talent is there, and he's going to be an asset for the Leicester Riders.
Adekoya called for the foul. The problem before Washington got there, but they're over the limit, so it'll be 2 free throws.
Obi Soko, a prime example of the degree of how London Lions are trying to attract their best British players back. He's someone who's had a career, for the most part, overseas, Europe, Asia, even a short stint on a reality TV show. He's finally gotten back to London, and you can tell he's having fun playing, being back on UK soil.
I thought you were going to go Mallorca there as well. Here's Adekoya, sells the fake, takes the long 2, off the mark. Long pass to Soko, broken up by Adekoya. Love is trapped, gets it out. Adekoya has it knocked away and it came off him last and out of bounds.
This London Lions defense looks like some hungry dogs out there. Every time a man gets beat, the next guy steps up. Taylor stripping, clean there, and this Lions ball going the other way.
You're right, Drew. You can feel just the pressure that defense is applying. Every single thing is hard fought for the Riders because the defense is suffocating.
Taylor kicks it out to Best for 3, knocks it down, and the London Lions are out to 16.
Aaron Best just has a way of popping up.
Nelson Henry down court quickly, and he lays one in for the Riders.
Oh, that was so quick. I didn't even turn my head. Nelson Henry doing a good job of running the floor like all big men should, and he converts.
Soko into the game.
And that's a shot there. I've seen him work on that shot time and time again in warm-ups, and great to see him back on the floor after missing a couple of weeks due to injury.
Jackson taking it down, getting all the way to the basket, and will that count? No, I think the foul is on the floor because he had a little hop. The referees are having a chat.
To me, it's continuation. He did a Euro step, but he just slowed down the tempo. That's why it looked like a stop, but that should be an and one in my opinion.
It's been waved off.
picks the ball up. You're right, Drews. Zach Jackson's really good at that because he increases and slows down the speed of when he attacks the rim.
I think it's because his initial footstep was on the defender's foot, and therefore he sort of hopped a little bit. And whether the argument London was saying was it's potentially a travel, and maybe the referee thought it's a travel. Well, they're not going to give them the shots because it's not a shooting foul.
If it's a shooting foul, it should be an and one.
Well, unless they said he was in a shooting motion, but then he travelled to score, but the foul was before the travel, and therefore he was in the shooting motion on the way to that. That's my guess. I'm guessing that.
Well, that's a little bit too more advanced for me. I'm just going to rely on the referees for that. Okay.
Because it's only the fourth foul on London, so it's not team fouls that sent him to the line. It's clearly he was in the motion of shooting. So here he is. I just think, watch his foot on Sharma's foot there. Does he move it slightly and therefore be called for a travel, which is why they haven't given the basket? But he was in his shooting motion before the foul, when the foul was committed, so therefore he should shoot too. That's my guess. And I'm getting a nod from the fourth ref, so I must have got it right. So there we go.
This is great. I'd love to sit with a fourth ref this whole time. Clear up some of these great areas for us.
Well, we're at the end of the third quarter here in Birmingham. London have stretched their lead by another 5 points. They will head to the fourth quarter with a 14-point lead. Is there a way back for the defending champs? Find out after this break. Welcome back to Birmingham. We've had a couple of nearly spectacular plays. Obi Soko trying to put the exclamation point on the third quarter. Not able to do it, but his team lead by 14 with 10 to play. Leicester, is there a way back? Have they got it in the tank? Have they got the offense to outscore London by 15 points in 10 minutes?
Well, they're going to have to make a run, and they're going to have to make a run early, in my opinion. It starts with them being able to create and get open shots for each other on the offensive end.
Nice pass from Love to Adekoya for two.
Wow, that's a really nice look there from the point guard, Love. Penetration inside, and a nice dump down pass for the finish.
Oni throws it straight to McKenzie. Love is out in front. Love is thinking about the three. In the end, he decides against it, and Oni steals it away. Oni throws it back. It's not a great pass, and that's going to be a hell ball. London will get it.
Scrappy from both teams there. I thought Love made the right decision to pass up on the shot. No, I think he's not someone who's comfortable just yet. The wrong decision was to turn the ball over. And of course, subsequently, London Lions also make an error here in the bad pass, which will lead to a jump ball.
Well, it would if we were in the Euro Cup. It'll be an end-line ball on the possession arrow in the BBL. Good hands, Love with the steal, racing down court, Sharma chasing him, and it's a goaltend. I think it hit the backboard, and then he swiped it away. The London bench disagrees, by the way. Let's see if we can see on this replay. It's off it's a goal. Oh, it's the right call. It's the right call.
Really close, Dan. Look at this. I don't think it touched the
It didn't hit the backboard.
I think it did. I think he swiped it off the backboard.
Wow.
Either way, I can't give a definitive answer with the use of the replay, so I'm not sure how a referee is supposed to get that one right. Wow.
Tough job on their hands for sure, but Carrington Love, if he don't know, he's going to find out about Josh Sharma real quick.
Only for three. Short. Soka with the rebound. Can't quite force it in. McKenzie gets to the rim and one. Kimball McKenzie.
Well, they needed to make a run, and they've made it run early. You can see now the momentum of the game starting to switch a bit. Great intent there from Kimball McKenzie, who's done that from the start. 13 points personal for him.
Well, he will have one free throw to come, but that will be in a minute's time because Coach Schmidt has called a timeout. Obi Soko picking up his fourth foul. Leicester have scored the first 6 points, potentially 7 of this fourth quarter, just to reel them back in a bit.
And when you're down and you're the underdog coming into the final stretch, the fourth quarter in particular, the first 5 minutes is crucial. You just want to get within striking distance when it gets late, and then anything can happen. A great start from the Leicester Riders.
Well, Rob Paternoster, we said he's been through every scenario. I'm minded to the fourth quarter. I hesitate to say it, Drew. I'm minded to the fourth quarter of a cup final a decade ago where Drew Sullivan dragged the Riders back in when they looked beaten, and then Jorge Calvo hits a three to win it late on.
Thanks for that, Dan, for that reminder. That hurts.
I didn't say you were playing on the other team. I left that.
You could have used the other example when we came back from 17 down with the 14 minutes to go.
That was in the trophy.
It was in a championship game. That's all that matters.
It wasn't in Birmingham. It was up in Glasgow. Let's have another look. So it's hard to tell on that because the question is the ball touching the backboard or not? See if we can see here.
Man, that is.
It's a flip of the coin type of call, and sometimes they go, sometimes they don't. Either way, Josh Sharma, great energy from him to chase that down.
Well, the referee only gets one look at it, and I must say, in real time, I thought it was a goaltend. So I'm going to agree with the referee. Oh, good hands from Best. Whelan's still able to chase it down.
Excellent hands from Best. That's a basket-saving play there.
Adekoya out to Whelan for three. Big shot. Oh, he rims out. But Leicester get it back. Whelan to the hole. That doesn't go. And it's forced home by Nelson Henry.
Goodness me. Great energy from Nelson Henry, who is involved in the handoff initially with Whelan. He stays with the play. Great tip there.
What effort. We got a ball game here, folks. Stay locked in.
Defense, the cry from the Riders fans. And Adekoya is normally so good at that little swipe down and getting only ball, but that time he got a bit of man as well, and that's his third foul.
Well, he was really good at swiping down. It's just that Obi Soko is the strongest players, one of the strongest players you will see it going to the rim. Any other play, the ball goes out of bounds there. Obi Soko. Good job attacking the rim.
Well, he's not shot very well from the floor today, Soko, but that's his first miss from the free throw line. He'd been a perfect 6 of 6 before that. He's missed them both.
Starting to get a little bit tighter now for the London Lions.
Uh-oh.
Wheeler to Nelson Henry. And he got up in the air. He saw the shot blocker. I think he was out of bounds. He saw the shot blocker and he was like, somebody help me out. And there was nobody there.
Well, he's trying to pass, wasn't he? And it's Best again. His hands are just so active and in the way. It's Aaron Best making a great play there.
That's just great help side defense. The initial line of defense gets beat, and then there's two guys, not one. They're in the paint, ready to defend. Great effort from the Lions.
That's on Soko. Obi Soko is fouled out of the game. That's his 5th. And his evening is done with 7:19 to play.
Wow. That's a big loss there from the Lions' perspective. Soko there with 10 points. Playing solid, but just a little bit too aggressive there.
It's a good call. He's moving, isn't he?
Moving, yeah, at the last split second. You got to keep those feet planted still until that offensive player comes off, and we're called there by the refs.
Well, the Leicester bench weren't too disappointed to see him go, were they?
No, they celebrated like it was they just hit a shot. It's because of the impact Obi Soko has on the game. London Lions now going to figure out a way here. 7 minutes remaining. It's a lot of basketball to be played.
Foul is on Taylor, denying McKenzie. I must admit, I was watching Nelson Henry, so I didn't quite see what he did. Not a tremendous amount in that, I would say.
That's aggressive championship basketball, in my opinion. You got to allow it to be a little bit physical. Guys are battling. There's something at the end of the line here.
There's Nelson Henry again on the glass with the putback. It's a 4-point game.
Nelson Henry's done a great job there, just having a good nose for the ball. He's followed his guard to leave attack, and he's profited on the offensive rebound putback. 8 points personal now for Nelson Henry.
Well, you've got to say the change has worked for Rob Paternoster. The change to his center line. What a bucket that is from Sam Decker.
Wow, back turn towards the basket, flips it up with his weak hand, shooting 80% in the paint. No fluke there by Decker.
I thought Nelson Henry might get another rebound as well there, but it was Kufos who got his hands on the ball first. Decker mid-range, and he is the get-out-of-jail-free card for London.
And that's exactly it. You know, have you ever heard the term cheat code before? That is Sam Decker. Whenever you're in a bit of adversity, if you're in a jam, give the ball to Sam Decker, and he just delivers you out of a hole.
On a bum ankle at that.
Offensive foul for the push-off on Whelan. Best holding his chin.
He's been excellent today, Aaron Best. He's one of those guys that does a little bit of everything. He's referred to as the Swiss Army knife, and even getting a whack in the face for your team, it all contributes to putting your team in a good opportunity to win the ball game.
And while the Lions have been rotating players over the past month, he's been the bright spot on the offensive and defensive end, picked up the offense in the last couple games, leading them in scoring. Great player.
Foul called against Adekoya, trying to fight over the screen. That will be his 4th personal foul. Well, Leicester got it back to 4. London have scored the last 2 baskets. Sam Decker has scored the last 2 baskets. They're trying to stretch it back to 10. Decker for 3. No. Kufos with the offensive rebound. Taylor shaking, getting into the key, dumps it off to Kufos. and he's fouled. I don't know whether it's McKenzie or Nelson Henry. Nelson Henry, his third personal foul.
It's Jordan Taylor again. Excellent job of penetration. When you get the defense to commit to you, that simple pass down low to the big man who has 10 years experience in the NBA, just takes it strong, gets the Riders to commit the foul.
Leicester having an impromptu timeout, which is why none of them have lined up. They're now coming back into lineup for the second one.
And if I'm the London Lions, I'm looking at that foul count right there. The last 5:21, any foul on the Leicester Riders sends them to the free throw line where Kostas just misses both, but I'm aggressive, getting downhill, putting the pressure on the Leicester Riders defense.
McKenzie lobs it towards Nelson Henry. Great finish.
Beautiful. He was tested and hassled by the defense the whole time, but Kimball McKenzie embraced that. The penetration gets a nice soft finish there for Nelson Henry.
Decker drives in. Decker scores again.
Wow, Sam Decker again getting into the teeth of the defense. We know he's not 100%, but you see the numbers. Anytime he gets anywhere in that yellow area there in the paint, it's 80% or better. Great bucket.
20 points now for him, leading scorer in the game. Whelan getting all the way to the rim, and he scores.
He's done an excellent job of that. He hasn't had many looks from the three-point line, 1 of 4, but what he has done is done a stellar job at is getting in those cracks of the defense. 15 points personal for Pat Whelan.
Here's Decker again. I think everything's going through this man's hands in the last 4 minutes. Oh, it's thrown away. Kufos couldn't hang on. Adekoya circles back out. Jackson in the low box, had the chair pulled out from underneath him, and a traveling violation is called.
And again, fantastic defense there by Luke Nelson. We call it pulling the chair. As Zach Jackson tries to post up there, he just scoots back. Jackson expecting the contact, doesn't get it, move his feet, travel.
3:47 to go. Coach Ryan Smith calling a pause to proceedings to talk to his team here. 6 points between the two teams. London have led throughout. Will they hang on is the question, or will they elevate away, I suppose, is the other half of that same question.
And this is the great things about hoops. When you get down the stretch, it becomes a chess match. This is when the stars arise to the top. The cream rises to its top. So we have a great 3 minutes and 47 seconds awaiting us here.
The London Lions have won every quarter so far. Besides this latter one, Leicester Riders winning 14-6. You're only as good as your last quarter a lot of times. So if Riders can figure out a way here to extend this lead, put more pressure on London, which they have done so far in this quarter, then your guess is as good as mine of what happens at the end.
Well, fortunately, we don't have to guess. We can watch it play out. Rob Paternoster. Can he make it 8 final wins in a row? A remarkable achievement. You can see, as Anne said, 14-6 here in the fourth quarter is why his team have a chance.
And don't be surprised this possession ends in a Taylor or Decker ball screen.
It's down low, poked away by Nelson Henry. London ball, 12 on the shot clock.
I feel Nelson Henry's been really good in this second half. You can just see that level of focus for him has increased and he's rose to the occasion.
Decker for 3, no. Rebound Nelson Henry.
Every time he shoots the ball, you just expect it to be at the bottom of the net, don't you? It's unbelievable. His ability, he plays like a guard, but remember he's 6'9", so he just shoots over many of the people that are guarding him.
It's inside to Nelson Henry. Great footwork, bad finish.
Wow. That's one of those ones where he'd want back. Excellent inside positioning. Best was beaten.
got the matchup they wanted there. Nelson Henry has to finish that.
Oh, did that come off? It did. It came off Taylor last as McKenzie swiped it down off his leg.
Play there and Kimball McKenzie there. Perfectly timed. What's more, you get it to ricochet off the offensive player's leg and straight to Taylor to go down and play defense now.
McKenzie lobs it. Oh, well kept. No, he tried to lob it to Nelson Henry. He couldn't quite get it in his rhythm and therefore had to throw it back to Adekoya and out of bounds.
And again, that's all caused by the Lions defense. The second line defender there in the paint off the help side and forces the turnover there by McKenzie.
Nelson throws it up high, caught by Kupos and put in.
Wow, that's what you got to do whenever you're in and around that rim. Just throw it high and your 7-foot center will do the rest. Big play from Kupos.
Whelan to Nelson Henry and he's fouled by Costa Kupos. That's his 4th personal foul.
Good aggressive take here. Nice pass down low from Pat Whelan. The contact there on the body.
Well, you asked, and how would Nelson Henry respond in terms of productivity coming off the bench? 10 points, 11 rebounds, 5 of 8 shooting.
He's been excellent. He's been a professional as well. You don't ever know when it's going to affect the player when, you know, that starting 5 spot gets taken away, but he's been great. If he misses the free throw there, his level of focus has been heightened in the second half. But they're going to need more from him here down the stretch. They're going to need him to play at that BBL All-Star level, which he has done for the last few seasons for this Riders team.
Oh, no joy from the free throw line. And as we head towards the final 2 minutes, London have an 8-point cushion. That's a lot in 2 minutes. It's doable, but it's a lot. Here's Taylor to make it 10. And Loving skying for the rebound. Leicester have to score here. Jackson for 3. Front iron, long rebound. Taylor sliding on the floor. Great play from Jordan Taylor.
Did so well. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion there, but it was Taylor who reacted first. Great play there.
That tells you what this game means to both teams. Getting there, sacrificing the body, getting on the floor.
Nelson Henry with the steal, thrown in front for McKenzie. McKenzie is fouled and will go to the line.
Riders route to the races there, and the lead pass there for Kimball McKenzie, who attacked fearlessly. Swipe down there from Nelson.
3rd personal foul on Luke Nelson. Make free throws for Kimball McKenzie.
And what we have to look out for in this final minute 23 is who has enough gas left in the tank. Both teams leaving it all out there. That's when fatigue kicks in.
And that's when you miss free throws, which Leicester can ill afford. Lions trying to take some air out of the ball here. Run 24 seconds. Inside to Kupos, and is fouled straight away by Nelson Henry, his 4th personal foul. And Kupos will go to the free throw line.
Not a good decision there from Nelson Henry. Reaching in the cookie jar before he even received the ball. And like I mentioned earlier, the Lions have been sitting in that bonus since 5 minutes. And Kupos takes advantage, making his first.
He's a 61% free throw shooter.
He makes them both. Noni is going to come in for him, presumably for his defensive prowess on the ball.
Double-double for Kupos. 14 points, 12 rebounds.
McKenzie spinning, getting to the rim, challenged by Decker. Decker with the rebound, and surely now that's enough for London with less than a minute to go. best, looking at the clock. Here's Decker. Decker along the baseline with the exclamation point jam. 36 seconds to go. London into a double-figure lead.
Wow, it was Sam Decker who challenges the shot down the other end of the floor. Now back down. The ball in the hands, the shot clock winding down. You won it with Sam Decker. And Sam Decker delivers emphatically.
Well, Rob Paternoster calls a timeout, but it's going to take something miraculous for his team to pull out of the bag here. Basically, they have to advance the ball, hit a three, hope London do something stupid, hit another three, and then maybe you've still got a chance.
Is that it?
That's just to get you to within a chance.
Hey, but look, if the London Lions do go on to win this, we have to commend the Leicester Riders for the simple fact they looked Goliath dead in the eye, didn't back down, went blow for blow, but in the end, the cream rises to the top here. The London Lions, in particular, Sam Decker, 22 points and 9 rebounds, and closing the door with that baseline jam.
Well, it wasn't an easy pick for MVP in the WBBL final. I fancy it would be an easier choice in the men's version, but wouldn't want to prejudice those who make that decision. Number 7, Black, it's been pretty good.
It's always 41 as well. And it's 14 points, 12 rebounds, 23 on efficiency. He's had a solid game inside his that. Let's not overlook the big guys, Dan, okay?
When it was a 4-point game, who turned it to an 8-point game? Here's Loving. Lobs it up. It's off. He tries again. That's off. And London will not quite keep it in bounds.
And that just sums up Mark Loving's night. The guy that usually averages 16 points. And just couldn't get it going tonight. 1 for 6 from the field, 4 points. And he'd want this game back.
Jackson for 3. Strings it.
That's one guy that has been ready for the occasion from the tip. What a game he's had. 16 points personal for Zach Jackson, and he's played with that fearless mentality the whole game.
Well, Jordan Taylor will go to the free throw line, and Leicester will be praying he misses both. Even then, they're still 8 points behind.
And Jordan Taylor's addition has been, one of positive outcomes for this London Lions team. He's came in here and it's like he's controlled the team the whole season. There hasn't been a drop off for 1 second. Instead, it's been an addition to the caliber of players that they've got on this roster already.
Lobbed forward to McKenzie, and that's out of bounds, and that will be a London ball, and that will surely be that. I think Leicester might just let them dribble it out here. I don't think there's much point in committing a foul with 21 seconds to go.
And you just spoke about it, Anthony. Jordan Taylor comes in, mid-season acquisition, and has just taken the reins over. He won't blow you away with the stats, but it's very clear that he's the man in charge for the London Lions.
Well, what do I know? They commit a foul and send them to the free throw line. Well, Rob Paternoster never takes the feet very well. He's such a competitor, but he will be proud of the effort that his team have put out there tonight.
Oh, he has to be, when you compare the two rosters and player budgets, etc., and the depth that the London Lions have got. This Leicester Riders team have approached this game, but they truly believe they could win this as well going in. They didn't see themselves as the underdogs, I don't think. And that was reflective on court.
There's Loving in the corner for 3. Now he gets one to go. And Decker gets away, and Decker will dribble it out. And the London Lions, the team everybody expected to win, has won. It's been hard work for Coach Schmidt and his team, but they have their first trophy of the season in the bag. London Lions the Cup champions 23.
Well, the expectations have been high, and they have delivered. This is a team that's been taken over. New management, new coaching staff, new roster, a bolstered roster if that. Last year they came up empty. This year they've just secured the first piece of silverware of the 2023 season.
Well, a lot of people in the summer were saying, can London sweep? You can only sweep by winning the first one. They're the only team now that can do it. They've won that first one. And talk to us, Drew, as somebody who's done that before, about how the first one fires the hunger for the second, the third, and the fourth.
Yeah, you can do all the talking about we're going to do this and do that and have all these goals, but it doesn't become a reality until you get the first one on offer, and that's this. The BBL Cup now. We'll start to see those conversations be fired up as the London Lions also sit top of the championship table, and this is a team that can get it done, but it's still a lot of basketball that lies ahead.
Well, I do wonder how much they will get to celebrate tonight, given the fact that they're off to Podgorica for a game on Wednesday night, but I'm sure they'll have a small window of opportunity to really enjoy the success, because these are the moments that you play for.
Well, and that when your expectations are as high as what the London Lions are, the celebrations are short-lived anyway. You know, it can even be a one-day celebration, and as soon as you return to that next practice, it's like a short-term memory. You have to be on the next thing. So, you know, I think a team built like London Lions, yes, they will enjoy today, but I think it's business resumed as soon as the new week starts tomorrow.
Yeah, and you're right. I've been in this position before where you have these expectations, and it's easy just to gloss over this and say, well, you're supposed to. But at the end of the day, you don't win every day. You don't be named champion. So you got to celebrate these small wins. But before you know it, you'll be looking saying, man, I wish I could get to another cup, let alone win it.
Well, that's the moment of disappointment at the other end. But a creditable performance from the Leicester Riders. They won't take any solace from that. He won't take any solace from that, because they've come to win a championship and they go home disappointed. But as a neutral observer watching this, that is a great performance from the Leicester Riders to come back in the way they did in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think it's an encouraging one as well for the future. I'm going to go out there and say we're going to see these two teams in another final, whether that be trophy final, playoff final. And I don't think the Leicester Riders will feel that this is an unobtainable mission to beat this team. They shot the ball really poorly today from the three-point line. They were 4 for 12 in the end, but those last 2 3-pointers were when the game really was already without a reach. So, you know, if they are able to tweak and improve on certain areas and be able to deal with the pressure a little bit more from the Lions, then they're going to be able to score at a lot higher rate.
Well, I think we're ready now for the presentation of the medals here at the end of the BBL Cup.
Basketball fans here in Birmingham, it's now time for the presentation of the BBL Cup final champions. But first of all, can you please welcome the presentation party, and I want you to give them a big round of applause, because it's because of them and their stewardship that we are able to put on days like today. So the BBL chairman, Sir Rodney Walker. And the BBL CEO, Aaron Radin. And from Moulton, we love Moulton, brand manager, Paul Reaney. First of all, we're going to ask the runners up to please come and get their medals. Well, they were champions last year. And we know that they're the type of club that will use this to drive them on to even bigger things. It is, of course, the Leicester Riders! Come on up, please. Kimball McKenzie. Mark Lovin.
Kimball McKenzie, what a great job he did today. Very aggressive, 14 points and 4 assists. And until a few weeks ago, he was the backup point guard, but on the big stage, he showed his mettle.
Yeah, and I think that's a player as well that you want to be wary of if you're the London Lions. Again, a guy who likes to play on these big centre stages, and he's a guy I think that you'd want to utilise there in big games going forward.
And as the Riders go up and get them, and we saw little glimpses as Love gets his medal. We saw little glimpses of when he gets his legs under him, what he might be able to add to this Riders team as well.
No, for sure, some of the creativity and moves he did were excellent. I don't know how I feel about him getting a runners-up medal. He played 10 minutes, 46 seconds, so he didn't do as much as some of the other players to get here. For sure, he showed glimpses of his brilliance here today.
And we talked about the intriguing tactical move by Rob Paternoster. I thought he got great performances from his captain, Nelson Henry, off the bench, and from Menzies in the starting line. It doesn't show loads in the stats, but he will be pleased with that move.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it helped them out early with Menzies settling into that game, but Nelson Henry's resilience, their mental toughness, that really came into play in that second half. Big double-double from him, 10 points, 11 rebounds.
Let's hear it again for your runners-up, the Leicester Riders!
Son, he's got a medal. Doesn't matter. His son's happy with that. But the Riders fans showing their appreciation for their team from behind their bench in the main section of the Leicester support. But now is the moment that the London Lions have been built for. This is what they have come together for, to win trophies and to become the dominant team in the British Basketball League. And they've shown that they are ready for that task here today. And a lot of good performances up and down the roster. We talk about Decker and Kufos, but plenty of other good performances for Coach Schmidt when he watches this tape back.
Yeah, and I think what he'd be most impressed with is the team's attitude there on the defensive end. They were excellent. The intensity, the execution, they defended as a unit, and for that reason, they were able to secure a cup here without any, as a late push, of course, but that defensive set was incredible.
Because we have talked about Leicester's three-point shooting numbers being lower than usual, but that is a lot to do with defense and you taking away the good looks that even a couple of them that they made. I'm thinking the Whelan one in the corner, and then when Jackson hit one of his, there's somebody diving out there. There's a good closeout in the end.
Yeah, and I don't think the numbers lie in that, the below par shooting from the Leicester Riders from beyond the perimeter is there, but also the 19 turnovers that Leicester Riders had. These weren't unforced errors. These were as a result of the defense applying pressure.
This guy was a game-leading scorer with 22 points. He had 9 rebounds, nearly a double-double. But more than the stats, he was so instrumental.
We're going to have the MVP announcement
when Leicester were on the run. It is, of course, Sam Decker!
Well, a lot of people tipping him for MVP of the season. He's got his first golden basketball in British basketball. Sam Decker, the Cup final MVP.
High caliber player, drafted first round by the Houston Rockets, played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Washington Wizards. It's a guy with legitimate BBL experience, but I think what's more important and what's more positive for him is the collections of people of how they commented about how he conducts himself off court. What an ambassador for this London Lions and British basketball.
Well, the coaching staff will go up now. Robert Youngblood, who's got a few medals in his time as a player in British basketball, gets another one as an assistant coach as well.
Yeah, stand behind the one that says winning 2023.
From the support staff coming up as well, and the coaching staff too.
As is tradition in the BBL, the last person to come
sure
up
that
for the
baby will
champion
have too many memories of the occasion, but there'll be a nice picture in the Schmidt household somewhere later of that first trophy, I'm sure. And now the captain of the London Lions, Ovi Soko, gets his medal, and the CEO of the British Basketball League, Aaron Redden, has the trophy in his hands. He hands it to Ovi Soko, turns to his team. He's winding them up. And the trophy is aloft, and the London Lions are the 2023 BBL Cup champions. A fabulous day for the London Lions organisation. Winners in the women's and the men's finals. And they will be hoping it's the first of 8. They'll be aiming for 8 trophies this year.
Well, a remarkable step forward here for the London Lions franchise. Of course, the women did the quadruple last season. It hasn't come as quickly for the men, but what a statement they've made here today, winning the first piece of silverware up for grabs this season.
Well, they led from start to finish. They weathered the storm a little bit in the fourth quarter. Weathered the storm when Leicester scored 12 in a row to cut it down to 4. But when they needed it, Sam Dekker came up with 2 crucial scores to push a 2-shot game out to a 3 or 4-shot game. And they just kept Leicester at bay after that.
And it's not the first time we've seen him do that, Daniel. This year, London Lions have been in some very close games that could have went either way. At the moment in league play, they're sitting at 16-2, so it's a very healthy record. But that record could have way more blemishes on it had it not been for Sam Dekker coming up big in big moments.
Well, he will pose with his teammates for the pictures as the photographers come in. Let's go back to the studio and Nat.
Well, as Anne and Dan were talking about, this is very much why this Riders team, this Lions team, how this Lions team was built. To win it all, to take it all. First job up, and they've taken care of business, Mike.
Yeah, they definitely did. They came in, they did their job. They played really aggressively on the defensive end, and then on the other end, they executed. And they took their chances when they could. They limited the Riders in the first 3 quarters, and the Riders just could never connect from outside and get their game plan going.
Let's talk more about that defensive performance from London, because they stifled Leicester throughout much of the game, particularly closing him down to make sure they weren't getting those shots from downtown, from the 3-point range, which is, of course, Leicester's MO offensively. Talk us through how effective this London defensive performance was.
I mean, I was so impressed with the London Lions. You know, I say when they're playing defence, they always made Leicester Riders do one more thing. And that one more thing ran the shot clock down. So the wide open 3, it was make an extra pass, an extra dribble. They never just allowed them to get comfortable. And I think that's a credit to Coach Schmidt. The players play with such intensity, such commitment to the defence, that's why they came out on top tonight.
Both defences perform well. I mean, the Riders will look at this and think they've executed their defensive game plan pretty capably.
I thought the Leicester Riders, again, I think it was a great defensive game. I think Leicester Riders really stepped up. I couldn't have asked so much more of them. You know, they've done their job defensively. They just got out defended in a sense, because the London Lions were just that one step better defensively.
The Riders at the start of the fourth quarter looked like they got themselves back into it, went on that run. It felt at that point, Mike, the momentum was with them.
Yeah, I mean, basketball's a game of runs, and the Riders made a great push there. But, you know, the London Lions, very composed, were able to weather that storm. And, you know, we saw a few good shots going for the Riders, but it was a little bit too little too late down the stretch.
One of the key players for the Lions at that stage when the Riders were going on a run was Sam Dekker, our MVP, who hit some key baskets in the fourth to wrestle that momentum back from Leicester and back to London. He is our MVP, and he's courtside now with Drew.
Sam, the grind began in August. Your emotions in real time, how would you describe it?
I mean, fulfilled is a good word, right? Because, you know, we had a step-by-step, layout where we wanted to be at this point in the season. And this one was really important to us. Credit to Leicester. They've dominated this competition, right, for the last, decade plus. And to knock them off, they were the champions of this until today. It meant a lot to us coming into the game, and we knew it'd be a hard-fought game. No matter what, you throw everything out the window for championship games, and to come out on top, it feels good. Give my team a lift, felt good, and it's step one for us. We got to stay really, really, really hungry.
Well, speaking of that lift, you turn your ankle in the first half, looked like you come up hobbling. You're only up 4 late. You get subbed in, 4 quick points. What was going through your mind?
Well, we kind of tried to manage my minutes early. I've been playing a lot of minutes, as you've known. You've been with us for the last 2 months. I've been, 38, 40 minutes a night, and, it's tough. Especially last game, I had some mental errors. So they wanted to, manage my minutes a little bit until the fourth tonight. And so I had legs coming in the fourth. I know my foot was a little banged up, but, I had legs, and the coaching staff had a great plan for me. And then when I'm fresh, that's when you attack. That's when you see they're tired, they're more tired than you attack. And was able to get some to fall and, spurred us for a win.
28 years old, in your prime, 80% in the paint. Are you playing the best basketball of your life?
I think so. Definitely the best basketball of my life. The past 2 years I felt great. The coaching staff, Ryan Schmidt, GM Brett Berman, Yasun, the whole staff has me playing at a high level, and his teammates. So this is a team award. This MVP is a team award. The people behind the scenes that don't get to shine, the Jasons, the Petes, EJ, Cass, Toby, all the people that do that stuff for us to get on the floor, it doesn't happen without them. So this is a team award. This doesn't happen without them, and that's what it's all about.
Hey, these moments don't come around every day. Enjoy it, soak it up. Congratulations, Sam.
Will do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our BBL Cup final MVP is Sam Dekker, 22 points. He had 9 boards as well, which means, Kieran, he was 1 rebound away from
Dekker.
a double-decker indeed. So disappointing he didn't get that final board, frankly. But it doesn't matter. His team have got the win. He has got the MVP trophy. And he's, as we talked about pre-game, such a great creator. Really wrestled the control of the game back to the Lions when they were under fire in the fourth. And as we saw from that interview, Mike, as well, he's a hell of a nice guy off the court as well, respectful to the Riders and respectful to the whole Lions organization.
Very much so. He's a great guy to be kind of the face of the London Lions and the face of this new wave of British basketball. And as Drew Lasker said, he's a certified bucket in the streets.
Yes, he did. Maybe my favorite part of today's broadcast. Who else impressed you for the Lions today?
Kufos, he really stepped up, made big shots. I said he got off to a slow start. I think Menzies did a great job defensive on him, but once he got going, got the big rebounds when they counted, made the right cuts, made the right finishes around the basket, and it was Dekker and Kufos down the stretch that kind of made the difference in the game. 2
players they brought in to land success for the Lions franchise. They've certainly delivered with the first test of the season. It's certainly a performance from them and from his team collectively that would put a smile on Coach Ryan Schmidt's face. He's courtside now with Drew.
Coach Ryan Schmidt, BBL Cup champions. Invite us in on your emotions.
I'm just excited for this group of guys. Obviously, when you play a team like Leicester, which we talked about pregame, obviously they've kind of been the standard along with Newcastle, and these guys are used to winning. So they're used to playing in this environment. And this is a brand new group we have. Obviously a very talented group, but anytime you're playing for a championship, experience is always going to have a little bit of an impact, and you saw that in the second half. We knew these guys weren't going to go away. But again, just starting from scratch with this group, to be able to win a championship in January, it's special, it's exciting. I'm happy for them because of what they put into all this. It's not easy, right? It's not easy to do what we're doing. But again, I'm just happy for these guys to be able to hold up that trophy here. It was pretty exciting.
And speaking of the hard work, I see you embracing your daughter there. And these moments are special because of the sacrifice of the family.
100%. I mean, my wife and I and Declan, our daughter, what we've gone through over the last 5 months is pretty incredible. She decided to come a little early in Canada. She was supposed to be born in London, but to be able to have them here is a really special moment, and to be able to share it with them, something we'll look back on for years.
And the resume of this team has been well documented. How have you gotten this team to buy into the ultimate goal?
I mean, it starts with the kind of character we have. Obviously when Brett and I put this roster together, knowing, the ups and downs you're going to have in any season, yet alone, bringing in a brand new roster, we wanted to bring in high character guys. So yes, their talent speaks for itself. But again, just their buy-in and understanding that this is bigger than something, just one individual, right? And again, for them to kind of just come and do what they're doing, it's something that's exciting, but I think we're just kind of scratching the surface.
And that's well-deserved, Coach. Go out and enjoy it, and we know we'll see you around again.
I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, those celebrations are going to be tricky because they got the game in Europe coming up, right? So I'm not sure how they're going to play that. I mean, a little minor celebration. What do you think?
Yeah, one drink cut off.
Okay, that's the Tuck rule, apparently. You mentioned Costa Koufos, Kieran. He is the other player we want to key on because honourable mention, and it was close in terms of the MVP discussion for much of the game. He picked up a double-double, 14 points and 12 boards. Mike, he's clinical, he's physical, dexterous for a big guy, an all-round athlete.
Yeah, I said it before. He's just the ultimate pro. He's out there. You can just tell that he's been through so many of these kind of situations before just by his demeanor and the way he carries himself and knocking down, really tough shots there. We talked about the Menzies matchup for him. He managed to overcome that, throughout the game, learning how to play around him. So, Koufos, what a player. What a player for the London Lions.
Big performance from him on a big stage. There were a couple of big performances from the Leicester Riders. We'll get into those in just a minute. First up, let's hear from their head coach, Rob Paternostros, with Drew.
Coach Rob, you come in as underdogs and your team ultimately falls short, but just talk about how proud you are of this group.
Yeah, always proud of them. I love coaching them. I told them that before the game, and I knew that they would give it everything they had today. We had to fight, and I thought we did fight. I thought we came up a little short at times around the rim, a little short on the free throw line, but I'm certainly proud of the fight today.
And this is the third matchup against the Lions, and this seems to be your best, and it seems like there's another level your team can go. Do you walk out of here with confidence moving on throughout the season?
Yeah, I really like our team, and I think we're going to get better and better. I thought Carrington Love gave us a little spark today, too. I think, getting him into the lineup is going to make a big difference for us. He's a real talented player, and I just believe that, we're built for the long haul, and that's what we try to do every year is we try to get better and better and better, and hopefully by the end of the season we're way better than we were at the beginning.
And speaking of the long haul, as you go away and you reflect on this, what do you take away the areas that you need to take it up a notch to get on that London Lion level?
Yeah, we got to score better. I thought we had our chances, too. I thought we had some driving layups that we didn't miss. First half, second half, had a couple open threes. We got to make shots. I said that in the pregame. We got to be a team that's making a lot of shots in this game. But I was happy with the defense. We held them in the 70s today, and I think that was a great effort from our guys.
Coach, well, the viewers are proud of the Leicester Riders' effort. We will see you again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kieran, they'll be back. I mean, these guys are champions. They ran the Lions close. As we said in the pre-game, they're in the running in all the other... the league is definitely advantaged London, but they're still in the mix. A couple of wins go their way. They're suddenly right back in it. So they will be contending for much of this season. They'll bounce back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think use every experience as a learning experience. They were right in this game. They played a great game of basketball. Defensively, I thought they did a really better job than some of the rest of the start of this season. I think they've really stepped it up. So there are a lot of promising signs from this. But no, Coach Rob Paternoster, they're going to be in these games.
He's not going to let them not be. Zach Jackson, Patrick Whelan, their two stand-up players. Zach was their top scorer. Patrick, as he has been for much of this season, a key part, but perhaps didn't get going to the level that we know he can.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he was a spark for them, and he was hitting some big baskets, timely baskets when they needed him, and he was doing all the little things too, and had a big dunk attempt, and then came down on a hard foul and got chippy, and the attitude that was there, he was playing with his heart on his sleeve, but probably just needed a little bit more from not only him but a collective of other guys as well.
And that was, again, testament to the defensive performance from the Lions, frustrating them from downtown. So neither Patrick or Zach Jackson could get going from that range, which, of course, has been a key part of the game plan all season long.
Yeah, I mean, the Riders didn't hit a three until the second half.
Right.
So, and that's, very uncharacteristic of them. So, obviously, it was in the Lions' game plan to run them off that three-point line. And as we know, this isn't an easy gym to shoot in. I mean, these rims get rolled out once a year. They're stiff rims and a big arena that guys aren't typically used to playing in the BBL. So, it was a tough night for them. They, hit a few down the stretch, but, too little too late.
Big day for London then, Kieran Achara. The dominant performance in the WBBL final. Solid performance in the BBL final. So advantage London in the tale of two cities.
Definitely. I'm seeing them celebrate on the court at this moment in time. Great start for the London Lions organisation. This is it. This is going to be the gold standard. Let's go and see who's going to step up next.
Got to say, it's been a brilliant day here in Birmingham. It is fantastic to see so many British basketball fans enjoying their ball. Two terrific performances from the London Lions. And let me tell you, there is plenty more where that came from. We're back with our focus on the championship Friday, February the 3rd. This coming Friday, we're in Manchester for the Giants Gladiators. 7:30 on air for a 7:45 tip, Sky Sports Arena, and of course, as ever, Sky Sports YouTube. Many thanks indeed to Mike, Kieran, and all the gang here in Birmingham. Hope you've enjoyed it. We certainly have. Brilliant work from the London Lions in both the WBBL and the BBL Cup finals. There is more where that came from, and we will be right there for you. See you Friday. Bye for now. on court and get their both camps now. Let's hear from some of the big stars we're going to see on court and get their thoughts about the big game.